Welcome you all to the regularly scheduled meeting of the governing body of Spring Hill, Kansas on Thursday, September 11th, 2025. The pastor was unable to be here tonight, so I'll go ahead and do the invocation if you guys are able to stand with me if you're able. Father God, thank you for bringing us all here tonight, God, and just pray right now, especially for our country, God, as it's September 11th, God, remembering what happened 24 years ago, God, and then also just some of the events that have happened in the last day, God. Just pray that you would unite our country, God, and bring us all together, God. And I pray that specifically us up here would make the best decisions for our community and for our citizens. In Jesus' name, amen. Please remain standing for the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we do the roll call, just thinking about yesterday's events and then just, thinking about today and what this day means in history. I was just thinking this afternoon and kind of wrote something down, and I just wanted to read it for everyone. We gather here today in time of deep division in our country, but also in a time of remembrance. 24 years ago, on September 11, 2001, our nation was shaken to its core. Nearly 3,000 innocent lives were stolen by an act of unspeakable evil. Families were torn apart, communities forever changed, and our very sense of safety was challenged. But in that darkness, something remarkable happened. We came together as Americans. We weren't Democrats or Republicans, conservatives or liberals. We were united. We stood shoulder to shoulder, lifting our flag high and declaring to the world, America will not be broken. That spirit of unity is something we desperately need again. Sadly, in our modern political life, too many have chosen anger and violence over reason and debate. Yesterday, Charlie Kirk, someone whose only crime was exercising his right to freely speak and to encourage healthy debate, was assassinated. Think about that. In the United States of America in the year 2025, a man who was a husband, a father to two beautiful young kids, a brother, and a son was physically murdered simply for sharing his ideas. Let me be crystal clear. Political violence is un-American. It does not matter if you are on the right or the left, if you love Trump or dislike him, or if you disagree with every word that comes out of someone's mouth. Violence is never the answer. The greatness of America has always been built on free expression, on the exchange of ideas, and on the spirited but respectful debate. We don't have to agree on everything. In fact, we never will. But what we must agree on is that every American has the right to speak without fear of being attacked or even worse, killed. Those who turn to violence reveal weakness, not strength. They show us that they cannot win the battle of ideas, so instead they try to silence voices through intimidation. That is not democracy. That is not freedom. That is tyranny, plain and simple. If we truly want to honor the memory of 9/11, let us remember not only the lives lost, but the unity we shared. Let us rise above hatred and violence and show the world once again what it means to be Americans. People who disagree passionately, but live together peacefully. To the young people listening tonight, don't buy the lie that shouting down or attacking someone you disagree with makes you strong. True strength is listening. True strength is debating with courage. True strength is defending the right of others to speak, even when you disagree with them. My friends, if we want to save this country, we must recommit ourselves to freedom, to civility, and to unity. We must fight the battle of ideas with words, not fists. And above all, we must never forget who we are. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and may God bless you all. May God bless Spring Hill, and may God bless the United States of America. With that, Madam Clerk, if you could please take the roll.
Mr. Young,
Here.
Mr. Peel,
Here.
Mr. Thrawn,
Here.
Mrs. Feback,
Here.
Mr. Grant.
Here.
Mayor, we have a quorum present.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll move on to approval of the agenda. We didn't have any requested changes, but if there are any comments or questions, now would be the time. If not, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0. Next, we'll move on to citizen participation. This is the time when the public can come speak about whatever they would like to speak about. We just ask that when you step up, you state your name and your address. We did not have anyone sign on the list, but if there's anyone out in the audience that would like to speak, now would be your time. If not, we'll go ahead and close citizen participation at this time and move on to a presentation. The first one on the list is recognition of Captain Khan and Chief Sutterby. You have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, for the opportunity and council to come up and do one of the things that chiefs of police love to do, and that's recognize people for outstanding work. And I thought it was very fitting tonight to have Adam recognized in front of you for the work that he's done in his tenure as the interim chief. When former Chief Henson left in December, I believe it probably was, and then obviously till my appointment, there were lots of things that went on that were positive that I've seen personally as I've come into the organization. So I want to bring him up here real quick. Captain Khan. All right, great. So, one of the things that I noticed right away is, the morale and the culture in the department was strong. And one of the things that he allowed me to do was come in and really hit the ground running. He left off. He took up where Chief Henson had left off. He continued to move the department, in my opinion, forward. Didn't let any balls drop. He maintained 2 positions while he was interim chief, both his regular job as captain and then obviously what he was responsible for as chief, as well as put his some own personal leave aside so that he could fulfill this role for the city in the interim while you were choosing your next chief of police. So I just wanted to, again, recognize him. I want to recognize Jillian. Where's Jillian at? So his wife, it takes, there's a lot of sacrifice that goes into law enforcement with their spouses. And I just wanted to also recognize Jillian tonight and her sacrifice as, they were having a new baby and just his selflessness in serving the city. So tonight I want to present Captain Khan with this small token of appreciation. So it says, in gratitude for your leadership, professionalism, and commitment during your tenure as interim chief of police, your guidance and service upheld the highest standards of the Spring Hill Police Department and community trust. And then there's a quote on here by Robin Sharma that I believe is fitting. Leadership is not about a title or a designation. It's about impact, influence, and inspiration, all of which I believe you had in your interim job. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Mayor, do you want to come down and get a picture? You want your mom to come up?
Say which way they go. Face that way.
Where do you want to take it out, right here?
If you guys back up a little bit, the spring hill behind, actually do that.
Running back because they want the spring hill.
Yes, thank you.
Can you get the baby's attention, Franco?
It's working.
Perfect. Good job. Do you want to do a couple without the baby? Can you?
Do you trust me to hold on to Margot so you guys can take some more pictures?
Sure.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, mama.
You can be kind of judgy.
That's okay.
She doesn't recognize you out of uniform.
Mr. Young, don't you have the magic?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Mr. Young, you have the magic.
Grandma got her.
You tried.
I did try.
Good job, man. Thanks. One of those when you have so many guys for coming in. I appreciate it.
I also just want to echo that sentiment. Captain Khan stepped right in, and like Chief mentioned, he had just had a baby and was supposed to be on leave, and he stepped right in, and we didn't miss a beat when it came to the police department. And he he went to multiple meetings and met with me, met with anyone that needed to be met with all the time, and just really appreciate you and the sacrifice you made and also your family made. So thank you again. Very well deserved. All right, next we have another presentation about the Blue Envelope Program by Chief Sutterby.
Well, I get a little FaceTime tonight. Allison usually takes all that from me.
This is true.
Okay. Hey, so I'm here tonight to present to you a program that the Spring Hill Police Department is going to participate in. We're joining several other agencies in the metro in this program, and I'll explain a little bit about it as we go through. But this was first brought to my attention at the Johnson County Chiefs meeting in July of this year. And so we've been working on putting pieces in place so that we can bring this to the community here in Spring Hill. Next slide. So this program originated, so this program has two different parts. There's the awareness part, first responder awareness part, and then there's the blue envelope. Both of these parts originated in different areas of the country. So for the awareness part, the stickers that you see on the screen, this started in Boulder, Colorado, and they started this program in August of 2024. It's a completely voluntary program. I've heard questions maybe about, well, the county has the Take Me Home program. This is a completely different program than Take Me Home. And so this is more about bringing awareness to first responders so that as we approach a residence, we may get a clue that there's someone in the home with special needs, something maybe autism or even another special need, and it will help us be more strategic as we respond to that house. So one of the things that we're trying to prevent as we educate the public on this is, there obviously are certain things when you're having contact as law enforcement or police officers with individuals with special needs that we want to educate the officers on. So we're trying to prevent pulling away from, or there may be some physical redirection, which may be misinterpreted as resistance on that person who has special needs. Sudden or unpredictable movements. Again, that may be misrepresented as a threat to law enforcement. Sometimes individuals with special needs may lack making eye contact with the officers, or, they may lack verbal response and just completely shut down. So these are the things that if we know ahead of time, and we, obviously our officers are crisis intervention trained, knowing this stuff ahead of time allows us to, again, to be more strategic as we approach a residence. Next slide. So again, about educating the community. So we're going to provide the stickers that you have in front of you or that you've seen as you pass them around. These have been approved by a local mental health organization as appropriate for this type of program. The placement, we would like people to put them as close to the locking mechanism on the door as possible, ensuring that we can clearly see it when we approach the house. The purpose, it's intended to make all first responders aware. It goes for fire and EMS as well as law enforcement. It's not just specifically developed for law enforcement, it's to help all first responders. It's not an exemption from any legal responses that we have to do. It's just, it helps us, again, serve the public better. Safety considerations, we still need to use appropriate safety measures, including, reasonable responses to resistance and that type of activity. But awareness across the jurisdiction is crucial to this program, and why I like it is because the stickers that you see in front of you, the blue envelopes that you see in front of you, they're consistent in all jurisdictions in the metro. So we discussed this at the Chiefs meeting. We wanted so that as we grow, as other cities around us grow, if we have to go to Olathe to help Olathe, if we have to go to Gardner to help Gardner, these stickers will be consistent. The only change may be that they might say Gardner Police Department or Olathe Police Department on them, but we will know what they mean. Next slide. So as you can see, these are the examples of our stickers that we had printed up for the program. Next slide. And then here's some examples that we'll use to help educate the community on where, we'd like them placed so that they're clearly visible for us when we go to a home. Again, this program is completely voluntary on part of the community, and so I'll talk a little bit about how that will work in a future slide. Next slide, please. So the Blue Envelope program was started in Massachusetts by the state police there. Again, this envelope is given to the family so that if they have a special needs individual who's driving, they can put all their documents, insurance, driver's license, or other information in this packet that may be important for the officer to know. And once the officer sees the blue envelope, they'll know that, they need to start thinking about, again, all these different reactions that they may come into, play, how they will communicate and work through and provide service to the person who's in the car. On the envelope, you'll see that there's a place for special interests. So this will help the officer. So if there's a person, obviously, that we know loves baseball or they love some other type of activity, that's a starting point or sometimes a talking point that we can do to get people calmed down. The goal is to make sure that we try to de-escalate situations as quickly as possible so that we can discover and determine what the root of the cause is, and then we can start to solve the problem in whatever way we need to solve that problem. So again, these will be something that we'll be handing out to the community as well if they request it. Next slide. In the program is also a Johnson County Mental Health Information Card. So this will also put into the blue envelopes. And again, this is just something that will give the officer additional information. Who can I contact if I'm not, if things that I'm doing aren't resonating? Who can I get to come and help? This will be an opportunity for that information to get to the officer also, if it's appropriate. And then last piece is training. So one of the things we're going to do is we'll have our community liaison officers meet with Johnson County Fire as well as EMS to make sure that they know about our program, make sure that they're aware, answer any questions that they may have about it. Obviously, we're going to do some social media communication on this so that people know that this is an opportunity that they can contact us. And one of the great things about Spring Hill is that we can put a personal touch on this, and that is we can have the community request this, and then we can send an officer to the home with the stickers, with the blue envelope, do some education at the time, explain the program to people, answer any question that they have, and help out in any way we can. If they want help putting the sticker on their house or whatever the case may be. But we get the ability, and a lot of times we have time to really invest in this way and educate the public and really provide a different service than maybe other busier jurisdictions have. So that'll be part of the program. Is you request it, you don't have to come to the station and get one. You're more than welcome to do that. We can arrange that if someone doesn't want us coming out to the house, if they think that that's something that will just create some anxiousness on the part of the person. We can certainly meet you at the station, but we'll be more than happy to bring this to you and show you what we're trying to accomplish here. That's really the crux of the program. In October 1st is the kickoff date. That's when all the agencies that are participating locally around us, Olathe, Gardner, and the Sheriff's Office, to my knowledge, are participating. So there'll be kind of a release of this with all these agencies. We've waited to do it on the same day so that we can all do a group social media release, press release on this, so that we're all doing it together. So I'm open to any questions that you may have about it.
I think, first of all, I think this is awesome. I have a son that's on the spectrum, so I think this is really cool. Something that I could definitely see him. He's 12 now, but I could see years down the road where it could possibly, potentially be a problem. So yeah, I absolutely love this. The only real question I had is this something, I assume it'll be provided to the citizens for free of cost?
Yes, so
And
free
then
of
also
cost.
funding source, is this, or Spring Hill gonna incur any costs by getting them, or is it provided from some grant or something?
There's a small cost to it, but it's not a substantial cost. So I think it's something that we can work into our current budget that we have. So I don't believe that's going to be any trouble for us to do. And then what was your other question, Mayor, about?
I think that was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, we'll be able to take care of that free of cost. And again, I want to reiterate, we're not taking, again, different from the Take Me Home program, we're not keeping people's information, we're not tracking anything. Again, this is completely voluntary with the stickers. It's all about awareness so that when we show up, we see it. And with the blue envelope, it's just providing that information so that the person can provide it to law enforcement if they have contact with law enforcement, so.
Awesome.
Is it gonna be recommended to have the sticker on the cars too?
They have gone away from recommending the stickers on the cars because they think that will more stigmatize somebody in the car, and that's why they feel that the blue envelope will be less stigmatizing to the person who's driving, so.
Okay.
Well, I think it's a great program. I'm a huge mental health advocate, as most people know. I do have a question, though. When the officers show up, do you ever, the card that Johnson County Mental Health hands out that has the number and stuff on there, do you ever feel like it could be a situation where you need to get mobile crisis response involved? Where you get 98, you call the 988 and then you request that through 988, or?
Yeah, the officers make that assessment on scene.
Okay.
And, they'll contact co-responder if they
Right.
need to, obviously, and then if we need the crisis team, then we have availability to reach out to them, and we do when that's necessary.
That's great. This is a great program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have a presentation on progressive design build team for the new wastewater treatment facility, and Miss, what do you call it, FaceTime herself is up.
I guess.
Mrs. Abel.
I couldn't quit you guys. So. I am here tonight. We're so excited to have the team here with us today. So a little bit of background information. The city is currently operating our wastewater treatment system. With our growth and expansion, we're going to be at capacity here really soon. So we need to start building our new system, and we need to do it quickly. And we only have so much money, as Rhonda is going to present later tonight. So back in July, the city hired BG Consultants to serve as our owner's rep. They're going to be our eyes and ears and help us guide us through this process. I have never done design build before. This will be my first time, and I'm super excited to have a team here with us that's experienced. So we went through the process. We sent out a request for qualifications back in June. We heard back from 3 design build teams. The design build team is composed of a contractor and an engineer so that they can work together to find a solution that works best for us within the time frame that we have and the budget that we have. And they're going to go through a little bit more of that here during their presentation, so I don't want to give away too much of it. So we received 3 proposals. We reviewed each of those. We decided to interview all 3 teams. That selection team was myself, Lane, and Jacob. We interviewed each of the teams, asked them a bunch of questions, and we decided that the Crossland Heavy Contractors and Black and Beach team rose to the top. There's a couple of reasons for that. They've got proven experience on several projects together, and they have built a lot of plants together here in our community and close by communities just like ours. They have really good familiarity with our community. They've got some project team members that are familiar with our community through GBA and Lamprey Nearson. So they've expanded their team beyond the 2 components. Our next step is to meet with them tomorrow to go through a scoping process to figure out exactly what this looks like and how much this is going to cost. And we'll be back before you in October with a contract for you guys to approve. So with that, I would like to introduce Crossland Heavy Contractors and Black and Beach to the podium to introduce themselves and to give you a little bit of an idea of what the project is all about and some of the expectations. And I'm gonna hand out, I've got their proposals that they provided, if you guys wanna flip through it. Here you go. Come on up, guys.
Awesome. I think you stole my introduction slide. I'm Eric Lowe with Crossland Heavy Contractors. I'm our division manager out of our Kansas City office. We have several folks in our team here. We got Derek Cambridge with Black and Beach, Susie Carpenter with Black and Beach, Nathan Grawl with Black and Beach, as well as Joe Barnes with Crossland Heavy. So they're here for any questions that you may have for our team. We've shown some other key members from our team in the slide here. Obviously, it takes a village, so we couldn't show everybody that's going to be involved. But as Allison said, we also have engaged GBA and Lamper Nearson on our team, as they have a lot of familiarity with the city and some existing infrastructure projects in the past. So, you can go next slide. I'm going to let Derek talk about, I guess, the progressive design build delivery method. Just kind of touch on what the process looks like, some of the things that our team is going to provide for the city, and then kind of get into some quick project details, and then we'll open it up for some questions if you have any.
Thanks for having us tonight. Just wanted to touch real high level on progressive design build. It's in the industry collaborative delivery, but as Allison mentioned, we're selecting a contractor and a designer together. So single source contract with the city. The benefits a lot of times we'll hear from clients is that transparency in developing the pricing. So we'll work together with the city, understanding the budget, working together. And you kind of compare that to maybe a traditional design bid build, and you design, then you bid it, then you hear the price, and then you construct. So the early collaboration between the entire team, the city, your owner's advisor, engineer, contractor, really help hone and work together to try and find that right solution. Overlapping design and construction, that is a real big motivator that we see, because it allows us to shorten the schedule. So rather than taking the entire duration to design, then bid, then construct, we can overlap those two phases of the project. Improve cost control and risk reduction are other benefits. Risk reduction is more along the lines of who's in the best capability of controlling that risk. So a lot of times when you hard bid a job and you kick that out, the contractor has to include risk because he may or may not be able to manage that risk. So we talk through those things in the development of what we call a guaranteed maximum price. The circle is just showing the contractual relationship. So you can see the advisor, the linking of the designer and the builder, and then the owner there. So that's a DBIA, Design Build Institute of America graphic that we stole to kind of give you a visual there. Just an example of collaborative delivery in the area. Kill Creek is just over in Gardner. So the team here is working on that job. We're in construction there. I put Tomahawk on here. It was a construction manager at risk, so in the collaborative delivery, but not the exact as progressive design build, but that's the one right off 435 in Null for Johnson County, so I figured you might recognize that one. I was gonna say Gardner, one of the main drivers is just schedule. It's the ability to overlap design and construction and get it going. This is a graph or a slide from our presentation with the city, and it was our kind of summary of project goals. Obviously, increasing wastewater treatment capacity. You heard Allison say we're reaching capacity of the existing plant. We want that ability to promote growth and regionalization in the area. The collaboration of ingenuity in that process. I talked about schedule and cost certainty, and then Allison mentioned the team experience of Crossland and Black and Beach working together. And then this is just a high-level overview of the schedule. And really what I wanted to point out here is just the visual of the overlap between design and construction. So you can kind of see the detailed design bar and then the construction bar overlapping. And that's one of the real true benefits of collaborative delivery. I think that's it on that one.
Got one more.
Yeah, one more. Oh,
It's
yeah.
not for you,
Eric, our closer.
the closer. No, we just wanted to thank the city for the opportunity. It's a very exciting project for our team. We love helping communities, especially in a growth pattern like we're seeing a lot throughout the area and throughout the region. One of the things that our team, we feel like brings value to the city, we're a water, wastewater contractor and engineer. We have a lot of knowledge in that with KDHE and some of the requirements that go into fast tracking a project of this nature, meeting all the requirements, but also taking care of the city from a standpoint of, we understand you don't want to build infrastructure that's not beneficial long term. As well as we're a local builder, providing a cost competitive approach to make sure that you're getting best value. And our team is a local team of construction professionals that we do water and wastewater work, and that's our specialty. So with that, we wanted to turn it over to any questions that you might have. Oh, we also have a, we have a flyover.
It's a huge file. Do you all have your phones? I got a QR code. How about that? Should have passed this around while we were talking. You can scan. So this is a animation we developed of the full build out of the site. So we're
this
talking.
would be ours specifically.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just a concept. Yeah, oh, you got it there. You know, it's
Make
starting
sure.
small. We talk in MGD, so you hear that acronym, million gallons a day.
Yep.
And the initial goal of the facility is 5 million gallons a day. And then ultimately, you can service with the drainage that would come to the facility 30 million gallons a day. So that animation is a 30 million gallon a day facility to show that it could fit on the piece of property that you purchased for the site. Did it work?
Yep.
Yeah. Good job,
It
Derek.
was 164 megs, so we didn't want to try and.
We don't want to shut down the whole meeting, so.
Yeah.
Any questions or anything for us?
I do. Oh,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, have you all worked together before on projects?
Yes.
You might have said that before,
Yep.
but I just wanted to clarify.
Yep. So like this slide, it talks about, so we've actually kind of went through some past history because we were interested in that ourselves. So we've done 45 projects together over the last 30 years. So it's about $635 million in projects that our team's done together. So this would be 46. That was our key catchphrase.
Okay, thank you.
No questions, but just a quick comment. We're excited to have you. Great to have you on board. This is going to be the scope and scale of this project will be historically large for our community, so we'll have some really high expectations. So
For sure.
looking forward to working with you.
Yeah. Excited
Likewise.
to be here as well.
All right. Thank you all. It's nice to meet everybody.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
So what we're looking at progressive build, from my understanding, is too, we could do like the phase one, we can kind of plan for phase 1, 2, or 3, and then, oh, we got a big thing that came in, so now we need to do 4 and 5 with it.
Right.
So we can kind of tweak as time's going on, right? So that's what makes it so effective,
Absolutely.
rather than doing a full build or a full sketch and everything, and then coming back to, oh, we actually have to make it twice as big now, or
Right.
whatever. So this gives us the growth pattern. So what we're looking at now, are we looking at, this might be an Allison question, are we looking at a certain phase on here, or are we going for the full throttle 5 kind of right up front?
Right now, we're gonna go for the full throttle 5, just because of some of the things that we know. But we're gonna talk about that a little bit tomorrow to see what kind of flexibility we have. if
We have the
need to
ability
go
to
less
pull back, yeah,
or-
that would be my major question is, do we have the ability to pull back if we don't necessarily need it right now?
We're gonna try to program that flexibility. They don't know this because we'll go through this tomorrow, but hopefully we'll have that flexibility built into it so that as we get decisions and as we, get development or things
Yeah.
change or whatever, then we can have those modifications. But our initial plan was 5 MGD and then going up to 30. We do have space for more if we needed.
So we have
more.
space for more than the 30? Okay, that was kind of what I was thinking, I'm
needed
like, is the 5 what we were shooting for, or 30, and then do we have room to go further than that?
Yeah, we have, and hopefully we have that flexibility, but what we plan to do is to start with that initial 5, but then have aspects so that if we need like a quick turnaround that, oh, well, we need more wastewater capacity,
Yeah.
then we could easily fold that, not easily. Hopefully they can easily fold it in. It's super easy. It's just lock it in Legos. It's
Yeah,
fine.
no big deal, right?
Yeah, it's no big deal. But no, they, hopefully we'll have some of that stuff pre-programmed in so that
Okay.
we can, easily expand the plant as the needs arise.
Is this also, obviously, development doesn't happen overnight, so if we get a little bit, there's gonna be a little bit of lead time, but as we go through, kind of what's the timeline? And I know we had a slide kind of talking timelines, but what's timeline from when we start building to when we actually move from like the current plant to this new one? How does that look as far as, is that more of a need base, or is it just once it's ready, we'll
Right.
convert it over?
From our standpoint, it'd be what are the drivers? So with design build, the contractor and engineer are working together from day one. So you're getting live costs based on where you designed. That gives you the agileness to shift to go one way or the other.
Okay.
Increase capacity, decrease capacity, increase schedule, decrease schedule. Because if you expedite schedule, there's an inherent cost for whatever trying to speed it up, double shifting, things of that nature. So we work with the city, you all, to make sure that you have that information. We make that decision together, so you understand the pros and cons of each aspect of it.
Yeah, cause that would be, I guess the big concern for me is that, you just never know. Sometimes there's something coming quick and then they wanna move forward quickly, and it's like, how quick can we get there, but do we really wanna go there if we don't necessarily need it right now? So that's where it's kind of a hard pill to swallow. It's like, which way do we go? And
For sure.
Well, as you know, every day is an adventure.
Yeah.
It never lands around and, something new is going on. So
Yeah.
we've got to be ready for some of those things. But we had anticipated having this started and hopefully that 5 MGD plant online by August of 2028. So in 3 years.
Oh, okay.
3 years is our plan. That's our goal. So
Will these be to where they can both be processing it if we needed more and it's not there in time, or are they like totally completely separate and they can't be used?
So there's gonna be a time that we're gonna need to have both of them online.
Okay.
And then there's gonna be a transition period. So again, that's something
Okay,
that we're
I
gonna
didn't
have
know
our
if that was even a
engineers-
possibility, so that was kind of a question too.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to have a distribution line from the old plant to the new plant.
Yeah.
It's gonna be part of this design.
Okay.
And then we might wanna choose to have the old plant online for a period of time for, that transition.
Yeah.
And everything, and then we'll know it when we see it, to take the old plant offline or maybe do something else with it. We might rehab it to, I don't know, some
Yeah.
sort of special treatment thing.
Yeah. No, that was, I just don't know how it works. I don't know anything about wastewater, so learning as I go.
Me too.
Derek can train you.
Derek's gonna train us.
Well, I saw the figure you had opened in the book and the phases that you're referencing, the
Yeah.
4 phases. So the idea in this initial expansion would be to map out
The
those
full
future
5, yeah.
begin with the end in mind, right? What does that whole thing look like? And then start building the pieces that we need initially.
Yeah, that was basically, and I think she answered it, but I guess to make sure I understand. Well, you'll put the pieces in place to be able to add those additional
Right.
capacity, but we may or may not do it right
Correct.
away. Because I'm assuming the 3 years is not going to be the 30 MGD. Is it MGD? Am I saying it right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm assuming that's going to be the 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, and it could be 5 years down the road. It could be 15 years.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Like, yeah, maybe it's okay, cool. I was just trying to wrap my head around it.
Yep. Having a game plan.
Yeah, cool.
Any other questions or comments?
I just like the concept of progressive, because I've done, like, not a water treatment, but just other types of construction, and progressive's definitely a lot easier than doing that big bid thing and all that, so it's good.
Less surprises.
Yes.
Yeah, less surprises, faster timeline,
Yeah.
all the above. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate that you're on board.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. All right, next we'll move on to the consent agenda. These are items that the staff considers to be routine maintenance, but if there are any questions or comments of you guys up here, now would be the time. If not, I entertain a motion to approve
I
the
have
consent
one.
agenda. Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Go ahead.
It's the CureLink Healthcare. So that's your employee assistance program.
Yes.
So a couple questions on that. Again, have a little experience with those. So are the employees utilizing it?
Not as much as it could be, but what we did differently this year with open enrollment is we put it inside of the Employee Navigator, which is the database that we use to take enrollment. So even though it's not something that that they had to sign up for, it made them see it so that it would be top of mind. So it was like reminding them again that we had that available.
Okay. And then, yeah, that was just my question, because I just was curious how you get it out to the employees in case they need to use it. Is it for dependents as well?
And there's posters, not posters, but little flyers that I have in each of the facilities so that employees can see it when they go and look at like the board of information. Whenever anybody comes to talk to me, I,
Right.
obviously offer it to
The
them.
supervisors can
Yeah,
offer it or whatever.
so, yeah,
Thanks, I just
no problem.
make sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? If not, I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0. Next, we'll move on to formal council action. The first item on the agenda is to consider approval of the 2026 operating budget. And Mrs. Dunn, you have the floor.
Thank you and good evening. I appreciate that tonight we have all 6 of you here to vote on the budget. I think that's an important milestone to have everyone here to be a part of the process. So tonight we're considering approval of the 2026 budget. We've been working on this together since I think February. And so it's nice to see it come to a conclusion. The deadline with the state for our budget to be submitted is by October 1st. So we're right in the timeline where we should be. Tonight, I'm going to convey to you some of the information I've given before, as recently as last time we were here on August 28th. And then you've given us some challenges to consider. I'm going to give you some alternatives. And in the end, I always think every year my goal is, I'm going in there with one budget document they are going to approve the first time. 2 years I've had to bring 2 in, and this year I'm here with 4. So we're going to get this done tonight, and we're ready to go. Let's see. Maybe. I'm hitting the button. Oh, there we go. This is the screen I showed you last time, which is about the total increase in the revenue in this budget. These are our key areas. I think it's important to show that property tax is not our largest revenue generator. It's actually sales and use tax. It's actually services and fees, and those are growing. I've taken a bigger piece of that pie. The increase in our property tax revenue as proposed is 7.7%. And so you can see the categories and the increases that we're taking in this budget. I was asked by Mr. Young to show if we are doing our current mill levy, what does the increase in the assessed valuation mean to a household in Spring Hill? And so I did these calculations in $100,000 increments. And basically, it's $26 per $100,000 for the increase in the valuation, leaving the mill levy exactly the same. Every $100,000 pays an extra $26. So if your home is worth, say, $400,000, the extra cost to you for your new valuation this year is $103 for the whole year. Obviously, you can read the rest, that it's about $26 per 100,000. As always, anywhere along the way, if you have questions or something, don't hesitate to interrupt me. So then the other side of the equation is expense, and this is a people business. You're probably tired of me saying that. We have a new debt payment. These are some key categories and how they're changing year over year. In the employee category, the thing I showed you last time is that we were budgeting 4.4% as a merit / cost of living increase for employees. Has an estimated cost, total cost of $132,000. I calculated the cost per 0.10%. So if you wanted to do 4.3 instead of 4.4 is about $3,000 for the entire group of employees. And also the Eastern Kansas government finance officers do a survey during budget to kind of see where everybody's going. And as a group, the metro area's average raise is 4.1%. The low is about 3 and the high is 6. So it's about 4.1 for all the metro cities. In this budget, we've proposed 2 additional police officers. I wanted you to know that they cost, and this is fully loaded, their pay, their benefits, employer taxes, all of that is about $128,500 per officer. And then if we add 1 new building official with all the growth that we have, the total cost of that position is $165,000. We're seeing a 2-year increase. We'll have an increase here in the second half of '25, and then an increase in the second half of '26 on our benefits, which is $243,000. So that's what's making up those increases for people related. So the challenge that you gave us last time was to reduce the mill levy for 2026, and the budget I proposed and published in the paper was a reduction of 0.28 mils. Further from that, I was asked to consider a reduction further than 0.26. You challenged us, we heard comments from the public last time, challenged me to utilize cash wherever possible and beneficial to the city that meets all of our obligations and needs. You asked us to reconsider the one of those additional officer positions for 2026. You challenged us to balance the merit increase and the medical insurance costs, that those are all to the benefit of the employee. Let's balance them and see what makes sense. And the other thing I learned along the way is you don't all agree on that, okay? Personally, I like to see you have a disagreement and a good conversation and come to consensus. So I tried to find the best way I could meet all of those challenges and needs as well.
Good luck.
Yeah, I've got it, I promise you. So I think I have a win-win-win. Okay, we'll see how this works out. I'm recommending that we keep the expenses we proposed in place, the 4.4% increase for the employees, the second police officer position, and reduce the mill levy through use of the medical reserve fund. That's why we created it, to help offset costs as they come up. And I'm recommending that we use this cash to offset the increases to get the reduced mill levy that you're looking for. So the decision tonight, if you agree with those premises, is to decide where you want your mill levy to sit. And I've proposed 4 different versions of that, depending on how you feel, where you feel you'd like to land. I also want to encourage you that this is an odd year. We always seem to have an odd year. The legislature nearly passed a cap on mill levies and assessed valuations, and they were very close to getting it done in '25. They will most likely get it done in '26 because they've had a lot more time to create their plan. Yes,
Is that SB 280? Is that one that they were proposing?
I'm not positive on that.
It's a mixture of a couple different ones. that
Oh,
they
is it?
proposed,
Right.
yeah.
So I think this is a year to hold steady because we don't know the impact of what that legislation will do when it gets passed. So my recommendation at the surface, at the beginning, is to stick with the 0.28, and you've achieved things that you wanted to, but I have given you alternatives if you'd like to reach in deeper into your mill levy.
And just to clarify for the public, one of the big things they've talked about is capping that, and the cap would be, whereas now, the last few years, we've had anywhere from 14 to 20% in the raise in valuation. Well, if they cap it at, some of the suggestions were around 3, maybe 5. If they cap it at that, that'll be a significant amount less
Right.
that would come to the city. Now, it would benefit the citizens because it would be less taxes that they would pay as well.
Yes.
So that's a big benefit, but we also got to think big picture, and we've got to come up with that in our budget to offset whatever that would be.
And it is a big unknown. We don't know. They've come up with far more stringent plans. They've come up with less stringent plans. And at this point, we don't really know how it will actually impact Spring Hill, both the residents and the city's operation. So I proposed the 0.28, and I went back to the home value so you understand what the value of that mill is in a home. And so the reduction per quarter of a mill is $2.88 per $100,000. So going again, if we stick with the 0.28 and you have a $400,000 house, the savings on your tax bill is $12.88 for the year. Likewise, if you move it up to a full mill, the value is $11.50 per 100,000. If your home is worth 500,000, it'd be $57.50 for the year. So you understand the benefit for the change in mill levy in a household. So then I'm on the proposal that I've given you, the minus 0.28, your mill levy would be 22.69, and we don't have to make a cash transfer. I reduced $50,000 in some expenses to get to that lower mill levy, and we would just maintain that. If you want to do 50, a half of a mill, you can see your proposed rate. It would take another $44,300 to come out of the cash in the reserve fund and put it in the general fund. And moving up, when you get to 1, that will take almost $145,000 to be transferred in from the reserve fund. I also wanted to put in here so you know where the current mill is, as well as what the R&R rate was, which you did vote to exceed last time. I feel like I'm throwing a lot of things.
So remind me how,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
oh, sorry, excuse me, remind me how much we have in the medical reserve fund currently?
The medical reserve fund has $824,000. You each got 2 copies, the July and the August financial snapshot, and about a handful of pages in, you'll find the fund balances, and that balance is there.
Okay. I just couldn't remember. I knew
Yep.
it was somewhere around 8 something, but.
The premiums cost almost $1.4 million in 2026. Our goal was to create a full year of reserve. And last year you opted not to transfer into the fund to hold it, and so it's holding at 824. I'll be back again, hopefully at the end of 25, and ask again about transferring in. We'll see how that works.
So Rhonda, my question is,
Yeah.
is that $800,000 that we have in the medical reserve, is that the only money that we have in reserve?
No,
Why did we pick the medical reserve over anything else?
because one, we have other reserves, they generally have a specific purpose, and so we can't just use it for whatever we want, and I'll give you an example. We have the excise tax fund that is collected on properties that are being developed, and it has to be used for development-related activities. It could be a street, it could be a park, it could be lots of things, but it has to be used on those activities. If you look at the report in the snapshot, you'll see all of the funds. And you can see we have, say, $2.5 million in capital infrastructure. Those are dedicated to projects to get done, to get completed. I chose medical reserve because this is an employee-related increase of $260,000 for our insurance. And that's exactly why this fund was established, was to offset those costs when they come along without having to raise the mill levy to do it. So we're using it in reverse. Let's offset to reduce the mill levy and use some of that cash.
Question. Can excise tax money go towards the debt service obligations for road projects?
It can, yes.
Okay.
I'll say I don't actually recommend that because it is not a ongoing source of revenue. You might get a lot of money this year, you might not. So it's hard to put in, say, a 15-year bond note when you don't know what your revenue will be.
No, the only thing I'm thinking is if you were to say, hey, instead of taking it from the medical fund for this year, we're gonna take a portion of the excise tax to pay for this, debt
199th
service.
Street,
It's not
yeah.
that we're not building into the,
Right.
it's just for now, we're allocating, so we're not allocating from here to there. But I just wanted to make sure, I wasn't sure if it had to be an actual project or if it could be for
Nope.
past projects that we're
Currently,
covering debt service for.
you can see this in the financial snapshot on the debt service page. We pay, I believe, 2 loans out of excise tax since they were created, and they're about to pay off, I think, in 25 or 26. and those were related to Veterans Lane for Veterans Park.
Okay, I have a question
Yeah.
back to the, reserve. So we currently have the
24.
24. How much do we need in there to be where we need
What
to
our goal
be?
was? Our goal was a full year's premiums, which is growing to about 1.4 million.
Okay, and
So
so
we're
with,
a little better than half of what we would want in 2026.
right, which we don't know if those rates are gonna be going up or anything like
Hmm.
that.
They sure never seem to go down.
Not going
Right.
down.
Yeah,
Right, and then, so if we go the reserve route, then you would take the 208,000 out of that account, which would then bring it down to 624, whatever.
the most, depending on what you approve,
It was 144, wasn't it?
I expect it to be 145 in
Oh, 'cause you already did the
2025,
45, okay.
26, yeah.
Cause you already did the savings and from
Yeah,
the IT stuff.
yes.
Okay. And then, so there's that option or, doing the positions, which I'm really concerned about the impact with those.
Yeah.
So that's
Me too.
my, yeah. And then the third is looking at the raises. Which they're 4.4, now is the proposed, the Metro was 4.1. Okay, so those are kind of our three options if we don't wanna touch the reserve.
Right.
And we wanna bring it, the mill levy down to the 1 or
Whatever,
0.75 or whatever we need to make up for.
right.
Okay,
The other thing is, on the raises, every 0.1%
right,
is $3,000. So if you wanted to go from 4.4 to 4.1,
right.
that would be a $9,000 savings.
Yeah, it's not a big saving.
No, not enough to.
I just wanted to, the reason why I'm asking is I knew the answers, but I wanted everybody to hear them.
Yes.
To understand what the,
Impact, the choices, what your choices are.
Can you go back to the previous screen, please?
You have a sales tax that you're not using of $1.6 billion that you can use it.
Well, that's just the general, yeah. Excess.
1.6 million for sales tax? Is that what he said?
That's just the rollover fund we've got, 1.6. So my question in the email the other day was, and I think you answered it, but my brain doesn't work that way. So the 322 in savings for the 0.28 is based off of their new value. And the average value increase this year was 9 or
9.73?
9.73, so I just used my house, I think I had like $50,000 increase, so for me, take the 50,000 increase and then backtrack from the savings from there, so that's where I was trying to get to at least a break even, if not a savings for people. So I know it looks here that there could be substantial saving, there's still a little bit there to kind of grasp, and obviously the higher the value of the house,
The bigger
the
the
bigger
impact.
it's gonna be.
I will tell you, I did that calculation, I may have sent it to all of you, that, if you take your base value and then add 9.73 and then take the standard mill levy, it ends up being about an 8.8% increase in your taxes.
In your actual dollar
Right,
taxes.
right. And I did it on all four of the,
So going with the
Denominations.
0.28, what is that, how does that equalize it? I can do the math, but yeah, I don't know if you did already.
equalize the,
If you take the 0.28 out, you know how we're cutting it off, how does that actually hit? So if we had a 50,000 increase, you're talking, you take your
if your house was.
500,000, 16, yeah, so then you're basically losing $1.50 of it, of your savings off the
Roughly,
$500,000
yeah.
house. So it's, I mean, these are pretty close. I mean, as you get
Right.
into the one, it's a little bit different, but there's still gonna, with the 0.28, there's still gonna be somewhat of a savings there.
Yes.
How many years have we been building the medical fund?
I believe we established it in 23. We did 2 years of deposits into it, and we held in the third year for 25.
Okay, so nothing's gone in for 25 yet.
Right.
And that's from 23 and 24.
Yes.
And we've got it up to 824? Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you think we will be able to add to that in 25 if we go with what you're recommending?
I think so, because our revenue is exceeding our budget, in that same $1 million range. And so my expectation is that there would be money there to fund projects, which is what you wanted, and make other choices when the time comes, like medical reserve.
And in my opinion, so this is where I think we disagree a little bit is, I know you want 100% coverage. I think 50% is plenty. So for me, this is where I think it makes sense to take from. But
That
and
was-
as we can grow it a little bit here and there as the
Right.
money comes in, but to kind of try to offset, to me, it's worth it to go there and try and do that. And as things change and if they put a cap in, it's just going to make it more transparent. So in the future, it's going to be easier because they'll probably get rid of the R&R, which makes it a lot easier for us to. Because right now, what it looks like is a huge increase to people because of the revenue neutral, not necessarily what they dollar for dollar what they paid. So that's where it's just hard to grasp, even for me, who's been through it a few
Well,
times.
it's just confusing
Yeah.
for everybody, because unless you've really studied revenue neutral rate, most
Yeah.
people don't understand what it is, and it just, the whole process doesn't make a lot of sense.
It's hard, it's very complicated for taxpayers to understand. I'm a taxpayer, I've studied it a lot, but in the end, it's very complicated, in my opinion, for the average taxpayer to grasp what the intention is. Also in this budget, going back to, do you think we'll have reserves? I bumped our revenue in this budget so we won't have as much of a surplus when we end '26. So I put that money to work in the budget as opposed to waiting and seeing what we get, by about $300,000, something like that.
Was that bump in sales tax revenue or is it?
It bumped fees.
Oh,
It's
fees,
the
okay.
development fees is where that money's coming to us.
So we still probably have some wiggle room in the sales tax because we've been steadily increasing there.
Yes,
Or that flat
because
out
of
this year.
population, yes.
Okay.
That was 6% is what I've budgeted to increase year to year, and it's been a little above that in in 25. And we had a down month last month, which is kind of odd. And so we'll see if it's,
Yeah, it
Some
shifted this
timing
year.
or something.
Last year it was, I think, July or August, and this year.
yeah, we usually have one down month about this time.
So kind of getting back on track with the proposed mill levy. My opinion here is kind of the opposite of what you're saying as far as like the valuation caps coming down the pipeline. This is our opportunity where we've exceeded our growth expectations. Our budget, it came out with a surplus. We're looking like we're going to be in great shape for next year to exceed what our budget is. I think this is our best opportunity to give people a little bit of a break before we really have to buckle down on the budget coming forward as our growth is going to be stymied by that new litigation or that new those new statutes that are going to be coming our way, restricting our ability to grow as a city. I think this is the growth is directly a result of people coming to the city and taking the opportunity to give them a little bit of money back. And at the end of the day, we're talking small numbers in the grand scheme here. We've got more than 50% in that medical reserve, which I agree with Chad completely. I think 50% is appropriate. More is always better. I'll never knock any household for keeping more money for a rainy day. That's always a good thing. It's not a morally bad thing, but we've got an opportunity to bring the mill levy down. I think that's something that we should take seriously.
Well, and I think
It's
if
not
it
gonna be
means,
something we'll have.
sorry.
No, you're good.
I think if it means losing positions versus taking it out of the medical reserve fund, I would take it out of the medical reserve fund any day of the week.
I agree.
I think, police is way too important, the community
Yeah.
development department, I mean, every employee is way too important. But, those specifically, just way too important to not consider taking out of this extra reserve fund that we have sitting there. We have plenty to do that, so, I wouldn't hesitate to take it out of there because I think it makes the most sense.
Chief Sutterby is prepared to talk about that further. I feel like you're kind of in agreement.
Oh, no, I think all of us would
Just-
prefer to keep those positions there.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're still growing.
Yeah.
The growth is not going to stop.
Right.
Even when the cap on the valuations come through, our city is still set in a really, really good position. Growth is gonna continue. We're still gonna see more money coming in at the end of every year. So if we've got an opportunity to both get the police officers that we need, get the community development people we need, I think it's an easy fix.
And I went over with our previous chief several years ago when I spent several hours looking at all kinds of data on you know, the amount of officers we should have per 1,000 people and all those details. And we were behind by multiple officers, so it wasn't just one or two. You know, they wanted, at the time, wanted 4 more officers, and we couldn't do that budget wise, but we said, hey, how about 2?
One of
And so,
the biggest road, or not necessarily roadblocks, one of the biggest obstacles we had staffing wise at the sheriff's office was wanting to get to the point where we had a relief pool, had a point
Yeah.
where bereavement leave came, vacations came, there were still people available to fill the roles that needed to be filled. It makes a huge burden on both supervisors and individuals alike trying to plan their lives around their schedule as it is when you add being at a deficit for the job that they have to do versus how many people they have available to do it.
and burnout.
Yeah, burnout is a real thing. I worked several years where I was doing more than 1,000 or close to 1,000 hours of overtime, and that's not a fun way to exist. I know our guys don't have that kind of a burnout. We do a good job, but keeping the overtime to a reasonable level and making sure they have the availability to do what they need to do, those extra bodies help.
Absolutely.
So I have a question on the reserve.
Yes.
So it's 824,000 now. So if we say that we're going to take it out of there, how's that gonna impact? When is, so the impact is for the following year? In terms of covering, give 100% to the employees if the insurance increases?
We will
Or what's that
revisit
gonna-
this every year.
Right,
Either look at our reserve and put money back in.
Right.
Choose to make reductions, but this is a problem this doesn't permanently fix it. It
Yeah.
fixes it for a year.
right.
Well, and like I've always said, is that our budget's annual, so this is gonna give relief for a year, like you said, and it may be different next year.
Right.
But for now, we have the opportunity to do it, I think we go for it.
Right,
I will say, you know, maybe we say, hey, maybe that's the first thing we try to replenish, or make
Right.
sure we're at a point where we wanna be when we have the extra at the start of the year, but, you know, I think we cross that bridge when we get there, and then maybe we reassess how we do things, but I think there's been steadily every year, unfortunately, there's been a dollar amount increase, not necessarily a mill level increase. So I think now's the time to do it, and it like I said, it doesn't look like much up there, but when, you just never know, for anybody, across the board, we're just one of many on that.
Just one of
tax
many
bill.
on
So
that
if we can
tax
do our part, that's all we can do.
Well, and that, like you say, that's doing our part. You know, we can control all the other entities, but what we can control is this.
Yeah.
And we have an opportunity to do something good, do something for the citizens. And, you know, some of us, it might not make a lot of impact, but people on fixed incomes or smaller incomes, you know, that extra $50 could make a big
pays a bill,
Yeah.
pays a bill one
big
month.
difference. So,
Are you in agreement, you would like, that's the approach that you wanna take to do a infusion from the reserve fund to lower the mill levy?
Yes.
Okay,
That's where I'm at.
so I'm gonna move forward. I love to hear you all talk and work through this. But I could do that all night and a whole lot of people don't want to.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take you over to a screen here, hopefully. Okay, cause now the decision you need to make is how much do you wanna change the mill levy?
Right.
Yeah,
That's the question.
I guess real quick before you get into that too,
Mm-hmm.
what's the payoff on the 2 you were talking about that's gonna be done here 25, 26? As far as the,
it's not, I'll have to look at the schedule there. It's not a great deal of money.
well, the only reason I say that is what's the
cost.
impact on the cost monthly or annually on the
Savings.
payments there? Is it worth it to look at maybe even doing a payoff on those?
I think so.
And just doing an early payoff and then saying, okay, we'll just remove those completely from the actual debt service requirement we have for next year? Cause you know, you get to the end of loans, typically the payment's much higher than what the actual payoff is, so it's sometimes
Right.
worth it to go ahead and just pull the trigger on it.
Pay off that interest before it occurs.
Yeah.
It looks like about $200,000 out of the excise tax fund. And they have a 2026 payoff.
And
So we
what's
would have
the,
2 years of payments.
so what payments of,
It's about 100,000 a year.
so that might be a thing too to look at. We say, hey, we're just gonna pay these off, so that's, maybe we only take 50,000 or 40,000 from here and then pay off those bonds.
Those
Yeah,
are
those debts.
paid in the excise tax fund.
That's what I'm saying, but could we pull it from there to look at that option? I mean, the mill levy part is what it is, right? But I'm just saying, maybe it's a mixture of the two as far as how we get that cash.
What's the interest percentage we're paying on that 200,000?
I mean, it's probably not much, it's just, if we pay it now, or we pay it at the beginning of the year now, rather than paying it through
It's like
payments
about-
through the year.
2.3%. That money's better off to sit in the bank at 4%.
Yeah, if you're getting that on it, then yeah, it's probably worth it.
And I'll say this, my hesitation there is excise tax is meant to be spent for development-related activities, not to subsidize expenses in the general fund.
Our
So
regular, you know,
I think we could look at, okay, well, then it's subsidizing streets and parks, it's not subsidizing police, I'll just pick police, but
yeah,
something we can work through. The way that I prepared this, I kinda like that it was like, the number's 145.
yeah.
If something changes, let's say we find out our increase isn't as much as we thought it is, it only needs to be 125,000, we can alter that.
Yeah,
Well, the key is that we have to stay within the budget that you approve.
yeah.
You don't really care what pocket I take it out of as long as I'm meeting the
That's what
obligation
I was saying, yeah.
that
we
you
can
approve.
Pick the mill and then figure out from
Right.
there. Okay. I'd like to see it the full one. But I'll just, I know we're going into that discussion, so.
I'm kind of torn because I was a full one and then I read more about that cap. And that's got me a little concerned a little bit. Yeah, so,
If I was making this decision just myself, I would probably lean towards the half mil. I think I would be agreeable with 3/4 also. I see that 1 mil is doable, or achievable. I think that's pushing it a little too far, is a little on the edge. So I would prefer to be one of the middle two, I think. I also know even if we just go to half, that's the biggest reduction we've done in the past 5 years, with the exception of the revenue neutral year. So I think that's pretty good work if we land anywhere in those top three.
I would kind of echo that a little bit. I would, just because of all the project, everything that we have going on, I would tend to land more. And when we're talking the overall scheme of the dollars, I would tend to land more at the 50, 0.5, or even I could even entertain 0.75. I would just be a little weary, especially moving on into the future of doing the full one. Yeah, I see the benefits of it for sure, but I also see the potential negatives of it. So I would prefer to land in one of the two middle ones, personally.
Well, I kind of think, I mean, probably the top two, the 0.75 or the 1. I think when you have extra money set aside for a rainy day, use it when you can. Yes, you need to have money saved for when you need to use it, but I don't think we need as much. And this is kind of a rainy day. I mean, everybody is struggling, and every little bit helps. And yes, it's $50, but it does make a difference, especially with people that are on fixed incomes or they are already experiencing increases elsewhere. And I think that when we can make a little change, even if it is 1 or 0.75, it's a little bit.
It's a sign, it's a sign.
I'd say it's good faith, yeah.
I kind of look at it, so we're talking about, with that one, we're talking about $144,000. That's roughly a little bit more than 14% of what our surplus was this last year. I think that we can do without 14% of the extra money that we plan on putting in savings next year to give people a little bit of a break. We're talking about pennies in each household, and I think revenue neutral is not attainable. We have too much. We have too many infrastructure needs. We've got big projects coming down the pipeline, but we also have been experiencing unprecedented amount of growth. And I think it's fair to send this back to the people for, even if we can only do it this year, even if we have to discuss raising it next year. I think when we have the opportunity to give back such a small portion of what we can, I think we should. That's where I stand on it. I am 100% open to the 0.75, but as far as I'm concerned, I think 14% of our surplus that we will probably end up with is a reasonable amount of money to send back to the taxpayers.
Seeing for me, I'd like to look at more, so for me, 1 is my me meeting in the middle.
So it sounds like, just wrapping it all up, Mr. Earl, sounds like we're all at least on the 0.75.
We got it down to two.
So,
Two choices.
so 0.75 or 1.
Would somebody like to make a motion? And so, you know, I gave you the choices at the bottom. This council doesn't actually set a mill levy. We tell them the budget we want to spend, and the county calculates the mill levy. I've obviously done all the work to tell you what that answer should be. It does get adjusted a little bit, so we're gonna set the budget amount we're asking the county to calculate our mill levy on. So you would simply change the last number there to whichever one of these options you'd like to make as a motion.
And just to clarify, if Brian was at 50 or 75, I was about the same, and everybody else was 7,500. I feel like 75 is probably the average of everyone's opinion up here. The motion can be whatever you guys want it to be, but I feel like that's the fair thing to everybody's.
I would be willing to do a motion at 0.75. If it passes, it passes. If it doesn't pass, then someone else can make a motion for the other one.
I think that sounds.
Does that work?
Yeah.
I move to approve the 2026 operating budget as proposed with a budget authority for expenditures of $37,206,490 with a 0.75 mil reduction.
You can't say that.
Can't say that part?
No.
Okay, sorry.
Stop that.
Right, seeing no second, that motion dies. You can go ahead and remake it. Go ahead and remake the motion without that.
Oh, redo the,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
so it can die again. I move to approve the 2026 operating budget as proposed with a budget authority for expenditures of $37,206,490.
I second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries 3-2. All right.
Tonight, you'll all need to sign the budget form for the state. I'll have it here at the end of the meeting, so you can do that. Thank you for working through that. I think that was a good exercise and a good decision, and I appreciate your help.
So better than I thought it turned out.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's
Thank you,
democracy in
Ryan.
action for
Yeah.
us.
All right, next item on the agenda is consider approval of resolution number 2025-R-21, adopting the 2026 to 2030 capital improvement plan, or CIP, for the city of Spring Hill, Kansas. And Mrs. Dunn, you still have the floor.
I do. Months of work culminates into one night. Tonight, I'm going to ask you for approval of the 5-year CIP. We have not made any changes to the CIP since July.
I'm sorry, real quick. Is the budget not a roll call vote?
No.
It always has been in the past, I thought.
We did a roll call for the R&R hearing.
It is required for R&R.
Just R&R?
Required.
So this doesn't,
If you feel we should.
that I'm aware of.
No, I was thinking that why we did that, so.
Yeah,
I don't have it in my documents to do it that way, but it's.
Okay.
I don't either, but I'm
Excellent.
happy to do it if we think we need to.
It's not a resolution.
Say it's not an ordinance or a resolution.
I'll look on, if you want to continue.
Yep, the CIP is a resolution.
Right.
If that makes a difference.
That was my weird face. It wasn't because.
Yeah.
It was
It's all good.
I was like, oh, I thought we had to do a roll call on that.
Okay, capital improvement plan, we haven't made any changes actually since July. This has been through the planning commission. You've gotten hard copies and updates and all of the documentation. Let me see if I can snap it through. Yeah, look at me. The key thing is, with the planning commission, they did recommend that this CIP was in accordance or in line with the comprehensive plan. And you can see here, these are the main categories of the comprehensive plan. And this includes all projects, and about 57% of this plan is related to public facilities. There are two main projects there, the wastewater treatment facility, which you're hearing a lot about, and we still have a municipal complex in there. That's what makes that category so much higher than the others. Then investment by category, just for those who like the visual of seeing that the majority in the plan is going to public facilities. I also took it and took those two facilities out and then let you look at about 59% of the budget, or the plan, it's not a budget, goes to transportation. It's the big street projects that we have coming down the line and the investment we're making there. And then about 33% goes to community development. That includes sewer lines and some things like that. And then only about 8% is going to the public facilities. So it's two main projects that are skewing the data here. So the one thing that we've covered, and you've seen these, so I'll go kind of quickly. I wanted to highlight new projects that were added to the 26 to 30 plan. The link to the Bucyrus sewer line. Every week we think we're going to get to add that to an agenda for you to consider for approval on that acquisition. We really hope it gets accomplished as in 25 or early 26. Sorry. Public facility, these are things that have been added. Some upgrades, if we're going to stay in the police department for a while, we need to make some upgrades there. We've talked about new city limit signage as well as a new city logo and land and watermarks. We haven't been doing equipment lately because a few years back, this council bought equipment that was needed. Now we're needing a 6-yard dump truck and a sewer combination truck, as well as a pothole patching truck. And then we'll have the Axon replacement in the police department in the next few years.
With the, with Kristen leaving, are we still keeping the city logo on there, or is that kind of, do we push that out a little further because we don't have somebody right now?
I have not been in any discussions about changing it.
Okay.
I don't think it's the first priority for a new employee.
We plan on getting somebody back in there pretty quick, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then these are, sorry,
Oh, I was just saying we're in the process.
yeah.
Okay.
The transportation projects, so these, you're seeing a lot of the things that are coming out of the safety action plan, and Alice has been working on grants as well as improvements around 175th, Lone Elm Road, roundabouts, all the things that we've been discussing here, and things that are coming out of grants. We hope to see a lot of grant money help pay for these projects. So I'll open the floor to discussion on the CIP if you have any. We've been talking about it for 2 months, 3 months almost.
Can you turn it back?
Yeah, can you
Sure.
go back
So
to
I
the
can
previous
stare
one?
at it a little bit longer. Thank you.
So a lot of these are included in that, the SS4A.
Yes,
So we're waiting to hear back on.
right.
Any idea of where we're at on that?
You're gonna steal her announcements and reports.
Oh.
I think the progress that we've made accomplishing and starting on the CIP list has been really significant in the last few years. When I started up here, that was one of the major things that we were missing, is we had a CIP wish list that had no money that could go to it, and
Never got accomplished.
all the things we needed and knew we needed, and we had no money to pay for them. And we're slowly and steadily starting to pay for some of those things and get them accomplished. So this has been some of the best work that this council's done in the last few years.
Yeah, and even just recently, just this year, just getting Webster Street on South End done. I mean, that street was horrendous. And then we, did some even worse streets the last few years. But
Yeah, Victory and Woodland were two huge
yeah,
ones that I always heard about.
yeah, Woodland was probably the worst street in the entire town, and,
Yeah.
and we got that one knocked out. And all the really, really bad streets, we've really gotten knocked out. And then even South Street, along the school there, and then Main Street over on the other end of the middle school. So getting a lot of them knocked out. We still got some more work to do. We still have 191st Street. We still have 207th Street. So we know we still have some that are pretty rough. But we've made a really big dent in it the last 4 years.
And when I say we, I don't mean just the council. The staff obviously has had a major
Definitely.
role in all of this, so we
Definitely.
thank you for that. But
And
this
kudos
is
to
just good
Jacob.
stuff.
He's
Yeah.
he's done an amazing job with that department and really taken it to the next level. And I think I've had multiple people tell me that and come up and thank you for all your hard work you've done. And it's really been showing out in the community that you guys are working hard and really making a big impact. So I appreciate your professionalism and your leadership on that.
What's the Lone Elm Road one? Thank.
That is for development related for the intersection there at 175th and Lone Elm, and on to 169.
Okay.
It's kind of an early phase of a project.
But we think that's a 26.
We think it will need to get started in 26.
What about Jacob had brought, maybe it's on the old one, for Hale and, the ones we had looked at
It
over
is-
there and,
It is not new to this plan, so
Okay,
it's not in
yeah.
your details here,
Okay.
but it is in the 5-year plan.
yeah, I know we had talked about that because those are,
Yeah.
and those were like major rehauls, like sidewalks, everything, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's getting, if you've driven downtown lately, it's getting pretty rough on Hale
Yeah.
and Nichols. It's, yeah. Any other questions or comments?
Can you go back to the previous one more time?
I was just gonna ask the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, that was my question on the logo and the city limit signs,
Right.
with kind of that changeover. I didn't know if that was something really 26 still, or if we move it off 27. And really with so much other stuff going on, is it really a 26 need, or do we push that out a little bit?
This is a working document.
Oh, I know, that's what, just a
Right,
thought.
and so as plans change, we push them out or move them around or
Yeah.
cancel them, depending on the work that needs to be done.
Yeah, and I think when we get the new person in that position, we can meet with them and get their ideas, their
Right.
thoughts on the whole thing, and then we can decide, hey, do we want to move this off a
Right.
year, or do you think, we can tackle this for maybe even a better price and move it on down the road?
Well, no, I'm just looking 300 grand and pothole patching trucks 450.
Yep.
I don't know. I'd rather throw it there probably, but
Yeah. Oh, I don't disagree. I think a dump truck's way more important than changing the city logo for sure.
yeah. So,
But-
all right, cool.
Would you like to look at the previous one?
You what?
It just
more
had
time.
one. The Bucyrus sewer line acquisition.
That one's pretty straightforward.
Yep,
Yeah, just need to get it done.
that's right.
It's been a long time. That was like,
I know, we've been
yeah,
working
like
on it
4 years
forever.
ago.
I think we were working on it when Lane and I got here in 2020.
Oh, yeah, it was like the first
It's been
thing.
around
Yeah,
a long
because
time.
I first started meeting on it
Yeah.
before you.
Yeah, exactly. We're looking at it to close up in probably early 26.
Well, I assume that's part of their road improvement out there too, right? Is it kind of all coincide? Or
No,
is it separate?
No,
I don't think so.
separate.
I would assume they'd try to do it all at the same time.
That was their street
That's just
street plan that
plans,
the council member presented to you a few
Yeah.
months back.
yeah. Okay. I don't know if they were going together.
Any other questions or comments?
This one is a resolution, and leave it to you.
All right, with that, I entertain a motion.
Move to approve resolution 2025-R-21, adopting the 2026 to 2030 capital improvement program.
I second.
Got a motion, a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll? Oh, no, it's not a roll call, sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0.
Now I got your second guess.
I know, now you got me on.
Did we have resolution on the previous motion and their vote? Is it a roll call?
That's what we're asking.
We're good to go? All right, cool. All right, next item on the agenda is consider approval of ordinance number 2025-13, adopting the 2025 Standard Traffic Ordinance 52nd edition, published by the League of Kansas Municipalities. And Mr. Lau, you have the floor.
Right. So this is now a yearly update we are doing. As you recall, I was here last year with the 2024 Standard Traffic Ordinance, which was the 51st edition, unsurprisingly. I'm here with the next update. We are trying to follow this every year. Minimal changes this year, just a few, I believe. Nothing impacts the amendments that the city has made to the Standard Traffic Ordinance. Those stay the same. So otherwise, this is just a housekeeping to keep us up to date with the most modern and up to date version. So, any questions? I'm happy to answer.
That was my only question is, yeah, because I know we had talked about golf carts and things like that. So this is separate from all of that because we have our separate amendments for the city.
Yeah, so this maintains the city's language that it's had in the past regarding golf carts. And if at some point the city would like to change that, we are able to go back in and just make a modification to that code provision. So.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question? What was the issue? I don't own a golf cart, but I forgot, what was the,
Access to the entire city. So
Oh, okay.
people like where we live can't go down Victory. People that want to go on Webster to get to some of the retail that we have there can't because of it.
Or Woodland,
I just
can't get
got-
from
Can't go down Woodland.
north
yeah.
side of town into town.
You can't get from up north down. So
Is it anything that's a 35 mile an hour you can't use?
25.
25 or less, you can go.
Yeah, it's the only thing you can ride on. You can
So-
cross the 35s, but you can't ride on them.
yeah, so that's where if somebody wanted to make a right to go to Dollar General and they make a right to make a left, well, they've been pulled over.
they've just been,
Yeah.
okay.
So I know Chief was looking at it. I don't know if he has an update tonight or not, but that's something we've been looking at and talking about.
Yeah.
Cool.
Look at you guys. You keep trying to jump ahead to announcements.
I know.
Well, would you rather me do it now or?
It's up to you all. It's your meeting.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
No.
If not, I entertain a motion.
Move to approve ordinance number 2025-13, adopting the 2025 Standard Traffic Ordinance 52nd edition, published by the League of Kansas Municipalities.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
This one's roll
Opposed?
call.
Sorry, roll
Ordinance.
call. I even wrote it on my sheet. Sorry.
That's okay.
Madam Clerk, if you could please take the roll.
Mr. Grant,
Yes.
Mr. Thron,
Yes.
Mrs. Feback,
Yes.
Mr. Peel,
Yes.
Mr. Young.
Yes.
Ordinance 2020, I'm sorry, Mayor.
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-13 passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is consider approval of ordinance number 2025-14, adopting the 2025 Uniform Public Offense Code 41st edition, published by the League of Kansas Municipalities. And Mr. Lau, you still have the floor.
All right. Really the same thing here, except instead of updating the STO, we're on the UPOC. So again, the city has not changed the amendments and changes it has for the UPOC. Those have stayed the same. The new provisions to the public offense code have not changed any of the numbering there. So everything kind of stays the same, subject to the few minor changes to the public offense code. So again, just a housekeeping item. We're trying to stay on these every single year, so we're always on the most up-to-date version.
Any comments or questions on that one?
No major changes?
So this includes all the things that we've updated as of late. And I know we changed some things last year, and so it's just kind of continuing that.
Correct, yeah. So it maintains those, and we go through every year to make sure there weren't any large-scale numbering changes that the league did that throws those off, and we're all still clear on that, so.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions or comments? Not, I entertain a motion.
Move to approve ordinance number 2025-14, adopting the 2025 Uniform Public Offense Code, published by the League of Kansas Municipalities.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll?
Mr. Thron,
Yes.
Remembered that one.
Mrs. Feback,
Yes.
Mr. Peel,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Grant,
Yes.
Mayor Berkey.
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-14 passes 600.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is consider approval of engagement letter extension with Hush Blackwell LLP for legal services. And Mrs. Jones, you have the floor.
Good evening, everybody. So, an engagement letter with extending these services for Spencer Lau to be the city's attorney was signed in March to do from April 2025 to September 2025 for $18,000 a month, not including any type of litigation issues that may arise. Those are outlined with separate hourly rates there as indicated. But during that time, discussions took place to determine whether or not we should bring the city attorney function in-house or if we should keep utilizing outside sources. did an RFP and got some submissions from some individuals as well as firms to potentially take on that for us. But during the process of reviewing that, it was discovered that with all the projects and everything the city has going on, it just made sense in the city's interest to remove any potential disruptions with those projects and the services that we had, that if we just continued with Spencer Lau as our city attorney and extended that time, it would give us more time to review the process so that we wouldn't feel rushed and also get us through kind of these big things that are going on right now for the city. So with that said, a request was made to extend the engagement letter, to send it from October 2025 to January 31st, 2027. And in doing that, it does raise that flat rate to $20,000 a month. And again, if there were any type of litigation issues that arose, there's some separate hourly rates for that, and it was about a $75 per hour increase on that. But again, we feel that this is the best decision, taking into consideration everything that's going on with the city and making sure that we're going to make a well-informed decision about what to do going forward. Any questions?
I'm happy to see this. I think we've all enjoyed Spencer's expertise and his demeanor. I think the public has as well. I think it's, yeah, I won't say too much more on that, but appreciate you, and I definitely support this.
I definitely think there's something to say about continuing and how we've started a lot of projects. And then if you kind of what the city evaluated of having somebody else come in that hasn't been kind of from when they started evolving. Right now you're paying $18,000, so then it goes to $20,000, so it's an additional $2,000 a month. I mean, there's a lot to be said about that in projects, especially on some of the bigger ones that, yeah. So I don't have any questions, but I understand what the city was looking at.
I mean, I don't think it's any cheaper to bring somebody in-house at this point.
No, I
So,
don't think so either.
I'm assuming this is all built in already to 26, so there's no change to our
Okay.
budget. Yeah, no, I'm happy to see it. I think it'll be good to get through the next year with Spencer, whether we like him or not.
Just clarifying, so this would be a 16-month extension? Okay.
Any other questions or comments? If not, I entertain a motion.
I move to approve the engagement letter extension with Hush Blackwell LLP for legal services, designating Spencer Lau as the city attorney, and authorize the mayor to sign for a new flat rate of $20,000 per month and the corresponding stated hourly litigation rates to be effective October 2025 to January 31st, 2027.
That's a
Second.
mouthful.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is consider approval of agreement with Tyler Technologies to convert the financial system from locally hosted to cloud hosted. And Mrs. Dunn, you have the floor again.
Thank you. This is sort of a housekeeping project that it's kind of like getting your oil changed. No one sees it, you don't really enjoy it, but you're glad you got it done, sort of a thing. We are asking you to consider an agreement with Tyler Technology. They are our financial system. It's called Encode 10. It was purchased in 2018, and at that time, we chose to host it locally. Since that time, things have obviously evolved, and cloud becomes more and more a part of the mainstream usage. And so I think now is a good time. I wouldn't want to be an early adopter on some things, but now I think Tyler has enough clients on their cloud environment that this is a good time for us to make that conversion. We use at least 2 servers to host Tyler alone. And so if we were to replace those 2 servers, I'm guessing in the $60,000 range. So that would be 2 we would no longer have to maintain or replace. So we would have a savings. This makes it a lot more efficient to run our Tyler system, because right now it's, they say, oh, that's your local IT. And then IT says, no, it isn't. It's hooked to it, so I get a lot of back and forth for all the right reasons. It also is a website. And so if I wanted to, with the right security, I could log in from home without having to log into the city's server and be, all those kind of things. So it's just a much more efficient way for this software to work. We will get updates automatically and a lot of good things. Unfortunately, it costs more money on an annual basis. They charge us more. It will move up almost $14,000 per year to be hosted on the cloud. But obviously, when you're not replacing servers, plus we pay IT folks to manage all of that with Tyler, we have some savings there as well under our current program. So I'm recommending that we switch to the cloud, take some servers out of our network, and use the cloud system from Tyler.
Of that $14,000 that we would be paying extra every year, how much of that do you think we spend right now with maintenance and update and personnel and everything that we wouldn't have to spend? So I'm trying to see how much the actual budget impact would be of that 14K.
I would say,
I know you don't have an exact number. I'm just kind of,
and it's kind of hard to say because we did like Tyler, we did their time and attendance, then we took it out. I would say, I could easily say half of it would go away.
so potentially a 7K.
Right, we're gonna have and the next item that kind of impacts that too, but it's hard to say exactly.
How many years does this correlate to? Is this a year by year, or is this like a 5-year term, or?
Our agreement, I believe, is for 3 years. We typically do 3-year agreements, and then we renew with them. It is a system we have, so I don't think we're gonna stop maintaining it. But it is an ongoing expense.
Is it 12 or 14? Because on here it says 12.
Doesn't it go to 37,000? You're paying 24.
Yeah, but I guess it's probably
Look,
13.
it is 12,281.
How about safety wise? I mean, going from a server that has to be accessed locally to the cloud. I know most of my stuff's on the cloud, but for the city, is there somebody to speak to that as far as the?
Like hacking capabilities,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
One, Tyler has many clients hosted on it now. They swear they've not had any issues. However, we will meet the requirements needed by the city's cybersecurity policy to use this system.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
No.
Not, I entertain a motion.
Move to approve agreement with Tower Technology to convert the financial system from locally hosted to cloud hosted and authorize the mayor to sign the documents.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0. Next item on the agenda is consider approval of a master service agreement with Image IT to provide manager information technology services. And Mrs. Dunn, you still have the floor.
Thank you.
Imagine, did I say Image? Imagine IT, sorry.
I'm gonna give him a nickname of some kind someday, I think. IT is managed by an outside vendor. We started that process in October of 2022. Formerly, we had an employee of a department of one, and we switched to an outside managed IT services. In the urgent need to do that at the time, we signed an agreement with Communication Concepts. Nathan Maxwell, who happens to be here tonight, he does good work with us, and they've been a great part of our team. At the time, because of the urgency, we did not do any competitive bidding. We signed up with somebody, and they've done good work for us. And they've probably spent plenty of time figuring out what we were doing and how we were doing it and making improvements over the last 3 years. The recommendation that we're making tonight is to change that provider. I want to make sure that you understand it is not a reflection of CCI or the work they've done for us. They've been a great part of our team. It was a difficult decision, and they've been in the process all along the way. In March of 25, we issued an RFP. We received 9 responses to the RFP, including the incumbent CCI. we had a review team and reduced that 9 down to 4 companies. And then I hope all of you are IT experts. I am not. And there's a reason we outsource it and hire the experts to work for us. But we weren't really sure how to ask the questions and what answers are we getting. And so the City of Overland Park's Assistant CIO, as well as the department head for Water One's IT department, sat in on the interviews with us, helped us formulate questions, and helped us analyze the responses we were getting. And I really appreciate them. They worked well with us as a team, and nothing like neighbors helping neighbors.
Absolutely.
And then we fast forward. One of the things that the process did was it pointed out that we need to make some changes with IT. It wasn't about the vendor, it's about the way we're managing it. And so we are tonight recommending the first step of probably multiple steps that are gonna happen and come to you for approval related to how we manage IT for the city. Along this way, we met, thanks to Mr. Young and some of you who know this man, Rob Norris from Business Outcome Solutions. He is here tonight. He's been a great consultant to us at a great price, which was pro bono. He's helping us out because this is his neighboring town. His kids go to our school district, and we really appreciate him. He reviewed the RFP that we put together and all the interview materials and responses. And I did not tell him where we were leaning. I wanted to get his unfiltered response. He analyzed the responses in 16 different areas, and he came up with the same solution that the city staff had come up with. And you can have the chance to ask him, but he felt we had done a good job as a team with the RFP and the way we had approached everything. So that makes me feel good that we're using the right tools. Based on those findings, we are recommending a conversion to Imagine IT, which lets me introduce you to Andrew Lecker. He will be our liaison. He will stay with us as our account manager and the one who manages the relationship between the city and Imagine. And Rob will stay with us through implementation, and then we'll figure out next steps for our IT process. These are the 16 categories. This is definitely an eye chart that Rob analyzed the 3 companies. I have blocked out the other companies. I don't want to, show anybody's score here, except Imagine they're gonna earn that score, so it's all good. But it just shows you the level of details that he went to analyze our RFP to come out with the answer that we feel is the best solution. It's also the lowest cost. And here are his recommendations for Imagine IT. It checked every box on the RFP for the things we were looking for. It has public sector experience with 18 Kansas municipalities, and some of them in our area. We're kind of central for his territory because he has several in Miami County and some around us, so it's a good fit. Excellent onboarding plan and project, methodology, strong local regional presence, strong security stack and vulnerability testing, employee fish testing, things like that. Their competitive price was $6,397 a month for 52 users, or $76,000 annually. The cost for 5 years is $424,000. There are quarterly check-ins and monthly key performance indicator reporting. That process with them is well documented. So what we're recommending is contracting with Imagine IT for 3 years with 2 optional years after that. The first step in our IT redesign is to get the vendor changed out and get our legs under it to figure out what we need from there. The savings is about $140,000 annually. And before you go ahead and apply that to a mill levy reduction, like I know you're all instantly thinking, we want to take that savings and expand how we're managing IT. Is it going to be an employee? Do we need that? What would that person do? All of those things will work out over the coming months.
And fix the live stream.
We're already working on that.
I know. I'm
Okay.
just
We
throwing.
already had the equipment ordered. Nathan is on top of that. We're going to change that out. Project work is excluded from this contract. So, for example, if we want to re-engineer the streaming system, they would scope that out and give us a price, and we would agree to that before the work was done. I like that because project work can then go in a project, not necessarily to the general fund. So as we build, say, a wastewater treatment plant, those things would be scoped into that project, not just through the general fund. If you approve the agreement tonight, conversion will begin in October. They have quite a robust transition plan and an experienced team. There will be obviously an implementation team here, and it is their plan to meet with all the employees to talk about opening tickets and how service works and all those things. And Rob will continue to work with us through implementation, and then we'll consider other services he will be able to help us with on the next phases as we go forward. I will turn around to all three of them and see if there's anything they want to add. I talk a lot, so. Okay, I take that as an agreement, so we're good. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
I have a couple questions.
Great.
So in terms of, I saw the quarterly check-ins, but what happens, and this is notorious for places I've worked, a password gets locked on Saturday morning. I need to access my stuff right now. Is there like emergency services? Is that an additional charge?
We negotiated in the contract that it will be 24-hour coverage without an additional charge,
Wow,
right?
that's huge.
We also have talked with Andrew about,
Holy cow.
now, and I also have to tell you, we don't use that service very often. We do have PD working around the clock and things like that, but it's not a huge amount of work for them. The other thing, forgot. Anyway, I'll come up with that.
Okay, so that's, they have somebody always.
Oh, like for council meetings, we'll have a schedule with them so they're aware that council is meeting, or court or planning commission, so that they have a person ready to respond to us. We won't be searching for somebody. They'll be aware in advance that we're working at night. Things like that.
Okay, is it somebody actually answering the phone, or is it leave a recording?
Yes. No, I don't.
I was
Come
gonna
on
say, I don't know who to
give you-
ask.
Andrew, he's gonna give you a cell.
I mean, I'm of course not asking from experience or anything.
So how the on-call will work is each level will have a on-call person assigned for that evening, overnight, whatever it is. It goes through a rotation, so you'll have a direct number that you'll call, and then it'll, based off of the level of the issue, we'll go to that tech, or they'll try to solve it right there. And so at each level, there's a tiered tech that's available overnight to do whatever is needed to be done.
So we'll be a live person.
Yep, you're a good person. Yep, so,
Perfect.
Yeah.
while I'm up here.
The savings
for it.
are awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that comes with a lot of, we work with a lot of municipalities, as she was saying, showed, so, similar infrastructure. So kind of the service tickets would be similar, so.
It will be a little bit of a culture change for the city because we're used to CCI being here in the building with us a lot. And so, as a part of the transition, Imagine IT will be here with us as well. I've met with Nathan, and he and I had the hard discussion that we're having, but we've agreed to have them here as a double duty until the end of the year, and to wrap up projects and things that are pending and make the transition as good as possible, and work together and move on to the next, I guess.
Just to piggyback on the savings, we, just before this, we approved multiple upgrades to things we do. For me, when I see things like this, it makes it very easy for me to say yes when you're asking for quality of life improvements, because I know you've got the city's best interest at heart. So thank you so much for putting the work into this. Thank you for working with us. This is the kind of stuff we need to see.
I appreciate
Getting a good job done for a reasonable prices, everything.
Appreciate that.
Well, and I'm still a big fan of, at this point, consulting out or going to a third party for a lot of these services is the best way to go. So thanks for working with us, Rob. Thanks for especially the pro bono help, because I have no idea. Sounds like Kristen might have a little bit, but I mean, I don't even think our city staff really has a ton of experience with it. So to have somebody who is willing to help, and that's a huge deal. So I want to tell you thanks too.
Yeah, I would tell you the process itself.
Oh, yeah, Rob, why don't you? He's loud, but
I am loud. You don't need a mic. I'll tell you the process itself ran really well. Is the RFP RFP process and very thorough. It was down to the point of, we needed to take the data and make the decision. And that's where I was actually able to step in and help out. What Rhonda does mention to you guys, it's an evolving plan. Like you said, we'll look at the next phase of what IT looks like. You can think of it in two ways. There are the pipes, the access, the things that are happening, then there are the people using it. And so that's what we'll be looking at next, on how the rest, all the applications, the software that are running on it, to make sure you guys have a full cohesive IT plan to move forward.
Awesome.
And that could be, you know, how you work with the third parties, where they go, what they need to do.
How does it work with, like, I know we switched over to a financial system that was giving like monthly reports that we were posting. Does this kind of integrate, or is that something totally separate?
Totally separate.
Okay,
This group will make sure that's connected and working.
okay,
Yeah.
And then that vendor manages their software and that
Yeah.
it's working and doing the things we need to do.
Okay.
But it's a-
In the next phase will be some of
Right.
that discussion of those softwares that work together, and what you guys to get your full aspect of all the software you have.
okay.
That will give you what you need, right? So the Tyler software and those things.
It's really getting our arms around what.
I was
we
gonna say,
have
I
and
think
how we
that's the
use it.
part, is understanding everything that we do have.
Yes,
Well, and then making sure it interfaces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they've done a really good job of building, you gotta think of it in foundational bricks. You get this foundation laid, and that gets you stability, ready to then move into the next phase of getting your really things buttoned down and really running smooth. So after the implementation.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thanks both of you. Thanks to everybody who did it, but, I think this can be nice.
I also want to say thank you to Nathan and CCI for
Yeah.
him and his company jumping in. We were in a pretty tight spot with the situation we were in. They came in and helped clean up a lot of things and really put us on that foundation they're talking about, good foundation. So I appreciate all the work you've done and your team has done over the last couple of years.
Really just saved our butts, to be quite honest.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, that's very true. They've been great to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? If not, I recommend a motion or entertain a motion, either way.
Let's make sure I got the right one. Move to approve a master service agreement with Imagine IT to provide manager information technology services for the city, and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Welcome to the team.
Thank you.
All right, next item on agenda is consider approval of task agreement with Lamper and Earson for City Lake Dam design. And Mr. Spear, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. We've talked before about City Lake Dam at Veterans Park. Specifically the dam for that body of water is required by the state to have an inspection done, report filed with the state every 3 years. In the most recent inspection last year, a few deficiencies were found. Nothing major, nothing that jeopardized the integrity of the dam, but yet still things that needed to be addressed. And in fact, in looking back through records, many of them were items that have been mentioned in the past several inspections, going back a decade or more. We've talked through, programmed for that, said we need to get these things addressed. So the item before you tonight is a task agreement with Lamper and Earson to do the engineering and design work to design those improvements, help us through the bid phase services, as well as a little bit of field inspection services during that work. Work falls in a few different categories. There's some repairs and upgrades that need to be made to the spillway at the dam. One of the biggest from a dollar amount and really from an engineering design perspective, the standards have changed, as you might imagine, from the time that dam was built in the early 1950s to today. And what is referred to as the freeboard, or the amount of dam height above the 100-year flood elevation, that required freeboard has increased over time. And so the current dam and its construction does not meet today's standards. So one of the big elements in this would be raising that freeboard level on the dam to come into compliance with with current standards. So it will be a fairly major undertaking. It's not a big, exciting project in terms of public improvements, but it is necessary to maintain the kind of the health and well-being of that structure. Its task agreement is in the amount of $154,005.80. Staff recommends approval. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Just because I spent a lot of time out there, that dam also facilitates cart paths for Sycamore Ridge. Are they in the loop with all these potential projects that are going to potentially impact the way they are able to do business?
Yes, and the idea is to minimize the impact on the cart path and the operation of the course. So, without getting too far in the weeds, we're not proposing to reconstruct the dam or bring in a bunch of dirt and clay to raise that up. And in fact, it's a solution to use a concrete jersey barrier, which would sit alongside the cart path and basically leave the existing cart path in place and add that concrete structure to give us the additional freeboard we need.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting back when you guys brought it before. It's like the roadside concrete panels that are kind of getting over.
That's what you see on the highway. That's
Yeah.
Jersey barrier.
Yeah.
That's it's
pretty cool, like,
It's an established form. It's an established material, so that'll bring the cost down as opposed to some uniquely designed element that nobody's done before.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I know this is a necessary evil. This is something that's been put off for a while. So.
Yeah, it's something I heard about when I first came on 4 years ago.
Yeah,
So,
this was early.
and I heard about it even before then. So yeah, it's something that's been needing to be done for a long time, and it's kicked down the road, and we got to take care of it.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Not, I entertain a motion.
Move to approve task agreement to provide final design, bidding, and construction phase services for the City Lake Dam in the amount of $154,005.80.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0. Next item on the agenda is consider approval of amendment number 4 to the professional services agreement with Brungart, Hanemichael and Company, PA, to provide construction services for the 199th Street Ridgeview Road to Renner Road improvements. And Mrs. Abel, you have the floor again.
And congratulations for getting the name right. Most people would stumble over Brungard Hanemichael. The next item before you is a request to consider a contract amendment with Brungard Hanemichael. BHC did the design for 199th Street. I am proud to say that today we sent the bid documents out so contractors can start reviewing those documents and get us their bid proposals by mid-October. So we have that project out on the street. So that's been under design for a while now. We're getting to the construction phase. Hopefully we'll be under construction with that. We'll get an early notice to proceed for the contractors sometime this winter, and then they'll really start the work starting this spring. So they'll start some utility work over the winter months, not much, but hopefully they'll get started with some of the major roadway construction starting in March. In order to do it according to the plans, we need to have full service inspection crew out there. We did hire an inspector 9 months ago. She is out there every day reviewing all the developments that are going on, and we're chasing our tail in engineering. So we don't have the capacity to have somebody out there full time that this project is going to require, to make sure that the contractor is building everything in compliance with our standards. And oh yeah, by the way, we've got CARS funding that we need to make sure that we're following their rules and regulations and documenting all of the inspection reports, making sure everything's tested and all of that. So BHC, Brungard Hanemichael, they have an amazing construction arm of their business line. I know 3 of the inspectors used to work at City of Overland Park, 2 of them on the Public Works inspection side, and 1 in right-of-way inspection. So all of them come with a pedigree of great inspection experience, and then it's led by Joe White, who is also pretty amazing. So I feel very comfortable handing over my baby, which is 199th Street, to BHC's construction arm, so that they can continue on with this tradition. I do like the idea of having the designer also serve as those construction services, because there's a lot of internal communication, coordination and such that they can have with their engineering staff. If there's something that doesn't make sense out in the field, then they can get right to the engineer and have those conversations. So I coordinated with the construction staff, tried to figure out what a reasonable time frame would be. We wanted to provide a max not to exceed amount. So we assumed that it was going to be full-time inspection for the better part of the construction season, plus a little bit of extra in the beginning so that we can get that early start on some of the utility work. So we tried to come up with something that was a reasonable amount. And we estimated that the cost for the construction services would be $322,000. So we started off with that. They will charge us hourly. So if we don't use all of that, if we can manage them, if there's some days that Cassidy can go out there and maybe oversee some of that stuff. If it's raining, contractor's not working, we don't get charged. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff that we'll manage in-house too. So with that, staff recommends the approval of an amendment to BHC's contract in that amount of $322,810. I'm available if you have any questions.
Go ahead.
You go ahead, I always go first. I'll let you go.
Was this the cost estimate we had built into, or what we were expecting as far as what the costs were? I know it's in the bond, but what were we kind of expecting this cost to be? Is it within that range? That's a Rhonda probably
It's
question.
probably Rhonda. We do have, let's see, it is included in the temp note issue, and these costs are paid by those funds.
Yeah, I just was
I'd have to
wondering.
go back and look at, I'd have to go back.
Like, did we expect it to be 322? Or we expect it to be 400? Did we expect?
Honestly, that's what it is.
Yeah. No, I'm just wondering if it was what was expected, because if it was, then yeah, no big deal. But if it's
Yeah,
100,000 more, then-
typically, the construction costs are, a certain percentage of what the inspection costs are a certain percentage of the construction costs, so this is right in line with what it is. I tried to do it based on the hourly rates of what we're actually going to see them.
Yeah.
And having it set up as an hourly not to exceed kind of helps us out, because we're not paying a lump sum where they're gonna profit if they're out there less, or they're gonna nickel and dime us and we don't have a cap. So this is the best of both worlds, and this is what I was expecting. We wouldn't have been able to do this with our own resources. We would have had to contract it out to one of our other on-calls. We've got a couple other firms that could have helped us out, but this is exactly where I expected it to be.
No, and it's definitely reasonable. It makes sense. I just was wondering if, I know sometimes especially now with how costs were coming down from what they were a couple of years ago, it was like crazy. So now we've been getting lucky on a lot of projects where it's actually less than what we kind of anticipated. So that's all I was really
Under
trying to
the-
figure
So I
out.
guess
Yeah.
More directly to that question, is this money that we're spending, is it in addition to what our expected costs were? Or is this just in line with what we'd already planned and approved?
Honestly, I don't know where those project costs are. I'd have to look that up.
I'd be more comfortable.
Yeah, I would want to know. I just want to, like I said, I just want to
Before we approve an
know.
expenditure, that's a pretty important answer to be able to
Yeah.
provide us in regards to this kind of stuff.
Okay.
Because yeah, if it was one of those things like, oh yeah, we didn't actually build this in because we assumed Cassidy was going to do it. I mean, I don't think that was the case, but yeah, I would like to know where we were.
I
as far
don't
as on the-
think 3 years ago, whenever we started this project.
Yeah, we didn't have her
even
on,
have an
yeah, so
engineering-
that's why I'm like,
We
yeah,
didn't
it
have an
should be
engineering
close, but-
department. This would have come out of, this would have been something that maybe Liam Prainierson would have done under
Yeah.
engineering on-call. So this money would have been spent one way or another. I just don't have those exact costs in front
No,
of me.
I know, and it's just.
There'd also be a contingency with the project, which is standard with any project, that if we had, we would have budgeted for things we weren't expecting if this was an unexpected expense.
No, I get that. It's like he was saying, it just kind of feels like a blind approval to say, hey, this is what we expected it to be and this is where it came in. That's the only thing I'd like to see when we get this kind of stuff is, yeah, in the project, we expected this to cost this and this is where we're,
Even if we just knew how much
yeah, it,
engineering costs were gonna be for the overall project.
And we would have had engineering costs programmed in, we would have had construction observation costs programmed in, we would have had the 20% contingency, we would have had
No,
all
I
of
get
that
that.
in that bottom line. I just don't have that bottom line number in.
No, I know.
So you're gonna get that, but my question is, and I was talking with Lane about this a little bit too. As we continue to grow, and more projects, is that where, and I'm trying to remember the budget where we could actually utilize another inspector to kind of forego some of these charges? I mean, if you think like 322,000, if
2 or
you,
3 employees.
I know, so,
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm just putting that out there, I'm not saying, after you get us more information and stuff, that it's not gonna be approved, I'm just saying, moving forward, that should be something we should consider, so.
Yeah, we definitely could consider something like that. I know City of Olathe has, again, it's a consultant, but they have an embedded employee that is dedicated
Right.
40 hours a week to work and everything like that. You're still paying that 3-point multiplier
Right,
to have that person embedded. Again, there's risks. We're tremendously busy right now with the subdivision growth and everything like that. That could taper off. We also have a lot of projects that are going on right now.
right,
That could taper off.
right,
So there's always that risk
I
of,
know.
are we gonna be able to keep
Contracted
somebody
versus- yeah.
full-time? For right now, this makes sense to have somebody, to help out with that 199th Street.
sure,
There are some other, Northeast Sewer is another one that will probably have to have some construction observation. That was also built into the budget, similar to this one. So, yeah, it's just something that we would have had built into, the budget as we would have gone through. And we'll continue to do that, but I like the thought of having an
Right.
additional inspector. I think we're getting to that point of saturation that it would make sense for us to do that. We just approved a budget. I missed
Yeah.
the vote.
Bringing it back in line to the subject at hand. Like I said, I'm gonna vote no to this specifically because those are the kind of answers we need when we're making amendments here, like, here's what we planned on spending, here's what we're actually spending, we need those clear as day, period, when we have these kind of conversations, those figures have to be in your hands so you can answer that.
If we push this off, does that hurt anything, or if it comes back in 2 weeks, is it not a big deal and you can have?
I'll
that
bring it back
ready us?
for you in 2 weeks with all
I'd
that
prefer
information.
that personally. I just
Yeah.
wanna know.
Well,
what
it's
we-
it's $1/3 of $1 million.
Yeah, I
That's a
just
pretty
don't-
big chunk.
Yeah.
It's not anything against you, it's just
No.
No.
I'd like to see that figure, or just know what the figure was.
It just, and that's a blanket statement to anytime we're discussing making any amendments to these agreements. With, like, we need to know what the plan was versus what we're doing, those are very specific pieces of information that we need when we discuss this stuff.
Well,
Yep.
it's kind of like when he brought us some other things. So it was like Spencer had the impact to the budget or the impact to the there was none or there was maybe some. When we ask Ron about something, what's the impact of the budget? We like to at least know what it's going to impact.
Yeah, I know this is coming from the bond, but that's still, like I said, I just wanna know the figures that we kind of expected.
I have something else really quick. So in terms of the number of hours that they're working, is that something that's like turned into you weekly, or how do we kind of get a grasp? I mean,
Manage that.
yeah,
So we'll be managing that on site with the contractor. We'll figure out how many hours that they're working. They will keep a timesheet and then they'll turn that in, hopefully by the end of the week with me.
Okay.
But I will see that in their invoices as well. They will have daily reports that they will be producing and then
Okay.
weekly reports as
so
well.
it's ongoing.
It
It's
will
not
be
just
ongoing.
at the end. Here you go.
No, surprise.
I didn't think so, but you don't know until you ask.
Well, and Cassidy and I will be lurking, so
Okay.
this is gonna be a pretty high profile project, so we'll be taking interest in what's going on.
Right. Thank you.
I'll bring
need to
this
make-
back before you.
I'll say, do we need to make any kind of motion to?
Yeah, I was just going to ask
Table
Spencer,
it?
what do we need to just table this? Is that the best? What's the best option on this?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Or just no action.
Table's probably.
Tables kind
We
of.
probably have to have some
Yeah.
sort of action.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
table this since it's a formal action item.
Yeah. Okay.
What
Well,
Uh,
do I reference it as?
So you can just
make a
move
motion
to
to
table
table
item number
item.
20. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I move we table item number 20.
I second.
got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0. Next item on the agenda is consider authorization of staff to submit an application for the KDOT cost share program, and Mrs. Abel, you still have the floor.
Okay, the next item before you is a request for the KDOT cost share. They released their notice that they have funding available. Our deadline is September 18th, so we've got to get this submitted by next week. So that's why I'm here before you today. I met with HDR, who did our SS4A, provided us with some great mapping for our high-risk network for our roadways. We reviewed some of the areas that wasn't in the SS4A implementation grant, some other areas that we wanted to maybe pair with some current infrastructure projects that we just approved in our CIP. So we did look at our CIP as well to see what we had out there in some of our out years so that we could maybe try to double down on some of our projects. So one of the projects that we looked at was 199th Street. I'm sorry, 191st Street. So picking up where we leave off with the Signal project, right there at Madison, and taking that all the way to Woodland. That's about 3/4 of a mile. We would do shoulder improvements and improve the safety and tie that in with the Signal project. We also looked at another project on Ridgeview, and if you want to flip to the slide. Can you zoom in on the green and that? Okay, so anyway, the green up there at Ridgeview, it's really hard to see, but we've got the Ridgeview Road from 191st to 199th Street. This is in front of a couple of elementary schools and the high school. This ties in nicely with the roundabout that we have on 199th Street. It ties in nicely with the improvements that we are going to make on 199th Street, as well as if we get one of the SS4A implementation grant projects, which would be a roundabout at 191st Street. So this kind of ties everything together in a neat little bow. We've also heard from residents that have come before us to talk about some of the safety concerns of the shoulders along Ridgeview Road. I had a discussion with somebody at the school district today. They were talking about their concerns of the shoulders along Ridgeview Road. So my recommendation is, looking at these two projects, they're both great projects. They're both great safety improvements. There are more accidents along this route, even though there are low impact accidents, there's a lot of them along this route. I think with the high school traffic along here, a lot of the school traffic, and just the community outcry that we've received in the last year, I think that this would be a really good project for us. If we were to improve this 1 mile segment, it would be about $1.87 million. Math is hard at 9 o'clock at night.
I was gonna say, if it's 187,000, that's.
I know,
great deal.
right?
Let's do it.
Well, that might be our local match.
I was saying we're looking at 15% of that basically is what we're,
The split is good on this one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the split is good. So it would be a 15% local match that we would be responsible for that $1.85 million project. So
275, 300.
yeah, so that would be my recommendation. I wanted to bring that before you and get your authorization to apply for the grant for Ridgeview Road from 191st to 199th. And if you guys have any other suggestions of areas, let me know. But this would, I feel like this would make a really good project. We've got a lot of things going for us. We could ask for letters of support from the school district, from the principals at the schools. I mean, I can break the record again with the letters of support if I needed to.
So do you have to put a project, I'm assuming you put a project that we're asking for when you put this in? So we need to kind of pick that too.
We need to pick the project. Yeah.
I think this is great, a great one here. I've personally driven down Ridgeview and seen a car right after school let out. There was a car down in the ditch right at 191st and Ridgeview where somebody had just gone off the shoulder and just all the way down, nose down in the ditch. So I've seen that on more than one occasion over the last 20 years, especially the last few years as as that area is built out, as there's, an elementary school there, the new middle school right around the corner, and then the high school there, you've got 3 schools within a half a mile of each other. And there's definitely a lot of traffic. And then with young drivers, high school drivers, they're just learning, just that with no shoulder, it's pretty hard. So a lot of distraction these days. So yeah, I
Can you
think it's a
flip
great
to the
project.
next slide? I'll give you an idea of what the shoulder improvements are gonna look like. This is a cross-section of the road. You can see that we'll be adding that extra little bit to each side of the road, just so that we can get an extra 4-foot shoulder on either side. And this is similar to what the county does for their safety improvements, their shoulder safety improvements, and they're actually gonna be doing something similar to this with the improvements on the east side of Renner as it picks up from our project on 199th Street. The other thing I'd like to point out is the ditches are gonna get a little bit better, better defining those ditches as you go along. So, better for stormwater. You'll have that 10-foot flat bottom ditch all the way through there to help pick up some of that stormwater.
Well, and we partnered with the county on 199th Street going out west. And that made those of you that have driven out that way, that made a huge difference on 199th Street having that shoulder there versus not.
Yeah.
So it's massive difference, massive safety difference.
And this would coincide with the sidewalk that developer will put in, right? Along Ridgeview?
Let's hope. Yes, it will.
Everything should go together.
Everything should go together, and as we start to incorporate the sidewalk, that cross-section might change a little bit. If there isn't a ditch and there's a curb, then we'll just do our standard section for a roadway with a curb going up to the sidewalk. If we want to incorporate the sidewalk on maybe the opposite side of the bank,
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of having a sidewalk right next to the edge of the road.
yeah,
I wanna have that separation, especially since this is a safety improvement.
yeah.
The other thing I'd like to point out is, this is also programmed into a future CARS, project, so we would have that 50/50 CARS funding with that.
Is there, when we do stuff like this, can we incorporate like bike lanes and stuff like that? Because I know in that area, I seem to run into issues with like the bikers that are out there, and then you have sometimes you have school bikers. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff happening. And the
There
kids on
are,
bikes,
and
whatever.
we talked about that, and I think the shoulders are
It's not big enough.
the shoulders are important out there. If we could talk about maybe doing asphalt instead, and instead of like the shoulder material, like the chips and stuff, we could look at doing something like that. If that's something that you'd like to do, we can discuss that further as we get into the design, and there might be some interest from the county to do that.
I don't know if it'd be enough for a bike lane, but it could be used as a bike.
Yeah, that's what I'm
You could
thinking.
utilize it as a bike lane even.
I don't
if
know how
it's
big a
not-
bike lane has to be, but
Just giving them any space that.
yeah.
Yeah, any space would be better than what's out there today.
Yeah,
Well, the tricky part becomes too is then you just got one section with bike lane.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then you gotta try and make it go north and south and
Yeah.
exactly.
probably east and west too.
Well, not even that. Even if it's just the shoulder with asphalt,
We could
because
put
it's
share
a
the
tight
road
area,
signs
so many
up there
cars coming
too.
back,
Yeah.
have room for them to get to.
Especially by the crosswalk.
Yeah.
It's really tight.
It's really tight.
Like there's no shoulder on either side.
So, yeah, any of those things, nice to think about. But
Yep.
Any other questions or comments?
I think this is good no matter what. Whatever we decide, whatever we can get,
Yeah,
take it. 15% of that project would be great.
Amazing.
So,
Yeah.
all right, I move to authorize staff to submit an application for KDOT cost share program.
Second.
got a motion second. Is there any further discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0. Thank you very much. That ends formal council action this time. We'll move on to announcements and reports. I don't think I have anything further than I had already. Mr. Young,
No report.
Mr. Thrawn.
I just wanted to appreciate all the discourse tonight, like just to put out the, budgets are hard for people. We have a lot of different opinions about the way these things need to play out and our future vision for what the direction the city's gonna go in. I really appreciated everybody's input tonight, everybody's help. Thank you guys all so much with everything. This is the way it's supposed to look. This is how we get people confident in what we're doing up here.
Absolutely. Mr. Peel.
No report.
Mrs. Feebeck.
First of all, congratulations, Captain Con. Appreciate you. So I want to make sure that you get another dose of recognition. The other thing, I just want to point out that it is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Of course, some of you know I've been in mental health a long time. Also have some personal experience with my mom. Not actually dying by suicide, but having some attempts and discovering those at a very young age. So I'm very passionate to make sure that people understand resources. So I want to read this real quick, and I know it's late, so I'll read very quickly. But September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, a time to raise awareness, promote hope, and normalize help seeking. Suicide affects millions of people every year, yet too many struggle in silence. Whether you are facing challenges, supporting a friend or a loved one, or are looking to help, your voice matters. This month is dedicated to recognizing the warning signs for suicide, encouraging open conversations about mental health, and connecting people to proven treatment and resources. When we stand together in strength, dignity, hope, and purpose, we can make a difference. We can help save lives. So I just want to put out there, if you go to NAMI.org, great website. Also 988lifeline.org, great website to get resources. So just please keep it in mind. And I don't have anything else.
Wow.
I know.
Mr. Grant.
No report.
Mr. Lau.
No report.
Chief Sutterby.
More information. So I was requested to bring some information forward to you about golf carts. So I kind of want to review a little bit about how our ordinance is set up. So we have an ordinance currently that states that you can operate a golf cart on a street that's 25 miles per hour or less. After dark, lights are required as per the state statute that governs motorcycle lights, so you have to be in accordance with that. Signals are not required on golf carts by our city ordinance. They do require a slow-moving vehicle placard to be on the cart when you're driving it because it is most golf carts, as I've researched them, do not travel more than 25 miles per hour at a max speed. There are some that can be modified to travel faster than that, but for the most part, what I'm seeing industry-wide is that they are 25 miles an hour at max. Insurance is required on these vehicles. And you cannot operate one on the highway or cross a highway. Our ordinance does allow you to cross streets with higher speed limits than 25 miles an hour in order to get, from one 25-mile-an-hour street to another. So, looked at other cities that have golf cart ordinances also. Most are very similar to our ordinance. The difference is that, like for Olathe, Gardner, Paola, and DeSoto, they allow golf carts to be driven on streets that are 30 miles per hour. There is no one currently in the county that is allowing golf carts on streets that have a speed limit of 35 miles an hour or more. Some other considerations that you may want to think about as you consider what you want to do with our city ordinance. I know that people do want to get from different areas of the city to downtown, to the city park, and to Old Town and those kinds of things. So I know this is an important issue. One of the things to consider is that we do have a lot of narrow roads with ditches. So that's something to consider as these vehicles travel. Not everyone's going to have one that goes 25 miles an hour, so you may encounter slow-moving traffic. And depending on the time of day, that may impede traffic a little bit. We don't really have any crash data that I can share with you really regarding golf carts. We have had a couple of accidents. One of them was several years ago with the cart path that goes across Lone Elm at Sycamore Ridge uses. The other was just a single golf cart accident that occurred in a neighborhood, and it involved a DUI driver. So really no accidents to speak of, but again, we're not allowing golf carts currently to operate on streets that have higher speed limits than 25, so I don't know how valuable that information is when it comes to the data when it involves crashes. the thing to consider with this is that these vehicles typically do not have seat belts in them. Typically, a lot of what I'm seeing from national statistics, again, this is nationally, not metro-wide, but is that, because people are unrestrained in these carts, you get a lot of people who are ejected from them when there is an accident. And so that can lead to, higher injuries, and just from the fact that, there is less protection in a golf cart than in a car, you're going to have higher injury rates just because of that fact alone, because there's less protection surrounding the driver or the passengers in the cart. Now, as I've driven around town, there are times when, streets that have 35-mile-per-hour speed limits have very limited traffic, and traffic can move about them in a way. So one of the considerations that you might want to think about is, do we limit certain streets to having golf cart traffic on? So, if Victory is a good artery from the south part of town, maybe that's one we choose to allow golf carts to get down to Webster on. Maybe a certain portion of Webster, we could craft the ordinance so that there is some consideration to try to get carts from the north end and the south end of the city in the safest way possible. There's also, you could carte blanche change the ordinance to say that you can operate them on streets that are 35 miles per hour or less. So these are a couple of considerations that, as I provide the information to you, for you to let me know what direction you want to go, and I can obviously work with Spencer on, crafting something that you would want to consider as far as the use of golf carts in the city of Spring Hill. And I'm open to answering any questions that you may have.
Did you get any additional information on side-by-sides? I know that was something that wasn't included originally.
Yeah, so UTVs are mostly operated in our southern part, southern city jurors that butt up to us, like Lewisburg, and I guess really not south. DeSoto has, and Paola allow UTVs. They do allow UTVs to be operated on 45-mile-an-hour roads. UTVs are a little bit different because they do have seat belts most of the time. They are more street ready. The one thing that I would ask you to consider with that is they often do create noise. So because they're UTVs now, a lot of them, like I know a lot of jurisdictions around us use UTVs to, during parades, during special events and these. So they do make them where their engine noise is muffled. But we would probably want to consider something with muffling noise, because you don't want a UTV driving down a city street late at night, sounding like a motorcycle. So that would just be something that you'd want to consider. But UTVs, we right now prohibit them, but we could allow them under, whatever circumstances. We could craft an ordinance specifically for UTVs to allow them to operate on streets. They're a little bit more, I would say they're probably safer at the higher speed limits, just because they're designed differently for that higher speed. So
I would say I would be fine with authorizing UTVs, on 35 miles an hour or less. I think at that speed, with the additional safety features they have on them, I think that would be safe. I don't have a huge problem with that. I do like your idea of kind of like a noise ordinance kind of with them. Maybe, not after a certain time, after 9 o'clock, something just to throw out a number there. I do have a golf cart. It is fun to drive around in the smaller streets and stuff. It is, like a lot have said, it is hard to get from, my sister lives, on the north end of town, and it's hard. I can't get to her house from my house, unless I go on Woodland Street. So I would not be opposed to maybe having Woodland and Victory maybe be the two arterials that could make it from the north end to the south end of town. I guess you would still kind of have to, well, no, because you could go to the downtown area, but those two roads would get you pretty much from the north, or really even just Woodland itself would get you from the north end all the way to the south end. You'd have to kind of go around a little bit. But.
yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I would be more in favor of just bumping up the speed and adding more safety features to it, like requiring seatbelt. I know mine came without seatbelts, so I ordered them on Amazon for like $50.
Yeah, I put seatbelts on mine.
So
they're really easy.
I would be more in favor of going with a higher speed so that people can use whatever road, because it's gonna be tough. You say, oh, we can go a Victory, but not here, and so that's gonna be hard for people to understand. But that's why I prefer the speed limit over, this street or that street. But
My
I would
only
say-
worry I agree with you. My only worry on that is really Webster Street.
Yeah.
I don't really worry about any of the other ones. I worry about, 5 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock in the morning when everybody's going to the schools and everything. And you have, a bunch of golf carts that decide they want to bring their kids to school, which is totally fine. But if we authorize it on Webster Street, you're going to have, I think, a lot of people using them on there. And in heavy traffic times, I would be worried about that.
So what would you say, Webster from like Victory to 207th or something?
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm fine with
That's
either
the
one.
So that's kind of the part you're like, okay, well now I can't go south on Webster. So
I'm just playing
It's just-
devil's advocate on that. I would like to be able to ride my golf cart on Webster. I just can see how it would be a problem.
yeah, no, I'm just trying to think of simplicity wise for people who don't know every single rule that we've got. And
Yeah.
I know when I got mine, I didn't know I had to have insurance. I didn't know I had to have, lights, backlights on it. So it's just like, also, do we implement something? And I liked how Paola did. I think it was Paola that had it. It was like a $25 one-time registration fee, and right there you got to learn everything that you needed to have to be able to have it. And it's just like a sticker they put on the windshield. So then you have to have insurance, if whatever other rules we have. And then maybe that's where it makes it easier to say, yeah, it's from Victory to here on Webster, and then you can go Woodland and Victory,
And maybe even give them a map.
If you're gonna put, I think if we're gonna put those type of restrictions in, I think we need to have something like that. Nothing crazy, but enough to be able to say we have literature or whatever to give them at the time of that little permit or whatnot.
I do think Webster is the biggest worry street. I know people are gonna wanna go to Quick Trip too, and golf carts in that intersection is just a really bad idea.
Yeah.
I mean, Webster scares me more than anything because we do still have some truck traffic, big truck traffic that comes down on Webster. The congestion times before and after school are bad.
Well, and a semi-turning, not being able to see a little golf cart. I'd be nervous about that too.
Semi versus car is bad. Semi versus golf cart is really bad.
Deadly.
So
So to add to that discussion, so, if you did make it from Victory to 207th, you're going to stay within 35. You get past 207th, it's going to bump up to 45 miles an
Yeah,
hour.
so that
there.
would
So
do it
it
anyway.
would
Yeah,
eliminate that.
catches it anyway.
Also Woodland, for instance, if you go east on 223rd from, let's say, Blackhawk, the speed jumps east of Victory to 40 miles an hour. And so I think there's a way to figure out a way to get people from the north and the south to downtown. They may take them into neighborhoods to kind of jump through, some to avoid some of these streets that have higher speed limits. But we could also explore the idea of requiring seatbelts on them if that's something that would make the council more comfortable with the use of them. I know it would. My folks in the PD, just because we're always concerned about safety and people's well-being, and so we don't want anybody to get hurt, obviously, but we want them to enjoy using their.
And I wouldn't be opposed to the UTVs, like, okay, UTVs are 45 because they have then they have to have the safety features, and then golf carts are the whatever specific streets we give. Just because that's the other complaint is that I have a UTV, but I don't have a golf cart, and this is actually safer than the golf cart, where you're not letting me drive it. But with the sound ordinance, I think would be important on that.
Yeah, I think you do like at 8 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock.
Well, not even that. I would just say if it's a nuisance sound on it, you either minimize it, or if it's after.
I think we're all pretty much in agreement with it, like we're open to seeing a change.
So yeah,
So as far as safety and like specific streets that you'd be interested or willing to kind of co-sign, could you provide us like a recommendation, a list of roads that you think would be a good exception area, and bring that to us next time so we can kind of look at it a little bit more in depth? Maybe
just put it as a discussion item or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I think
Be glad
it
to
sounds like we're on the right track. It just that's what's funny out of everything that I get complaints about. That's like the majority of them are golf cart related.
I know we're getting late and trying to wrap up
so-
the discussion.
So that would be where I'm at.
Are we having any problems or issues with the new micro mobility technology that's out there with scooters, bikes, electrics? So many more kids are on these devices, even adults. We have 3 of them in my household. Are we having any problems with those? Are we seeing anything to where we would need to address those things along with because it kind of ties together with this?
Yeah, no, I actually took a look at e-bikes, e-scooters, because when I was actually getting ready to come here from my former employer, we were actually starting to see an increase in the use of those. And there's a current ordinance in our in the standard traffic ordinance. I'm sorry, but I think it's restricted to, like with electric assisted bikes, it's age restricted to 16, and a bike no more than like 28 miles per hour. And then electric assisted scooters are pretty wide open as long as you're not on the interstate or doing anything. Now, I have seen a few of these as I've been driving around Spring Hill. I don't know that it's a huge problem at this point, but it's something that we probably should address in the future as we start to see more of them. I don't know if it's priority right now, but
Yeah, there's definitely, I agree with you. There's definitely a ton of kids. My wife runs a lot, and I've been joining her sometimes. You see a lot more people out on electric scooters, electric bikes. And there's been a few instances where we've been on the sidewalk and somebody in an electric bike just came whizzing by, about ran us over. So yeah, I think it can potentially become something that we may need to address.
any other questions on? So I'll come back with a little bit more recommendation for you as far as golf carts go, and then we can go from there. Is that where you wanted to land?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think so.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks.
Appreciate that, Council.
Thank you.
The other thing I wanted to report out on real quickly, I'm sorry, I know it's late, but I was asked about animal control also, so I wanted to give a little bit of an update on animal control. So I did talk with the county. Unfortunately, they don't have the ability to contract with us for services. They have one ACO that's committed to DeSoto, and so without really bringing somebody else on, they don't have the staffing to do so. I am waiting to, and it's really on my end, I need to meet with Chief Waldeck with Gardner to have a discussion with her. I know there were talks with the previous chief about them providing services for us and a way to contract with them. So that's on my task list to get with Chief Waldeck. So I just wanted to let you know that I did check in with the county and what the update was, and we're still working through the process.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, that's another one besides golf carts. That's another one I hear is the animal control, and I hear that one pretty often. So appreciate that.
Sure.
Mrs. Abel.
There was a question about the SS4A implementation grant. I have not heard anything yet. However, they did come back to me with a question and clarification, and based on what I've heard from our consultant, that's a good thing. They're looking
Great.
at our application, they're digging deep and everything like that. So hope to hear something soon. I will be shouting it from the rooftops and everything like that. So stay tuned for more information. We did get a notice last week or this week on our WIFIA grant or WIFIA loan. That is the loan that we would utilize for our wastewater treatment facility. That is a federal loan that we would receive. We have been invited to go to the next round. So we submitted the application, which was a pretty lengthy process. The next round should not be as bad from what I've been told. But being invited to the next round is a really good thing. I'm not saying that it's a sure thing, it's just a really good thing. So hopefully I'll have more on that here soon. And then mark your calendars. I've got the 223rd Street public meeting. That is set up for Wednesday, October 1st. That is going to be at the community center. We wanted to try to find something that was closer to the intersection. We looked at a couple of venues, but we didn't know how many people we would have, so we wanted to make sure we had enough space in case we had a large crowd. And the community center or up here at City Hall made sense. Since the community center is in Miami County, that's why we decided to have it down there. So we will have the consultant there. I think I'll have the flyers by tomorrow. We'll start publicizing, getting flyers out to the local businesses so that they can start promoting this. I'll get information out to the spreadsheet of business owners that I've got contact information for, social media, websites, all the things. So hopefully we'll be able to show everybody the concept that works, that I think will work. So anyway, so more to come on that, but mark your calendars for October 1st.
Awesome. What about since Mrs. Feedback didn't ask it, where are we at on 191st Street, just for the public, so they know, they know?
The plans were finalized and that application for permit review or whatever, that was submitted to the state last week. So they've already reviewed it somewhat. So this is the final review to make sure that everything is in line before we can take it out to bid. So hopefully we'll hear something in the next couple of weeks and I'll have that out on the street, ready to bid. And we could hopefully get a contract agreement here in the next couple of months, maybe by November, December is what I'm thinking.
Great.
Awesome.
Awesome.
And once again, that was for 191st and 169 stoplight, just for the public that's still awake and listening. Madam Clerk,
No report, thank you.
Mrs. Dunn.
I'll be quick. I think you've heard enough of me tonight. Since you were talking about the inspection fees that we're paying on that, or potentially paying on that project, in 2025, for the first time, having a city engineer and a city inspector, we budgeted, and this is in your August snapshot, page 2 of 28, the fourth line down, they have generated revenue of $342,000 in 2025 from those public infrastructure fees. That is new revenue to the city, and with a third of the year yet to be, to go, that nearly covers all the people-related costs for that department. And that is new in 2025. I also want to remind you that all 6 of you need to sign the budget, and I have it here. Please sign it before you go home.
Awesome. Mrs. Jones,
No report.
Mr. Spear.
No report.
With that, I entertain a motion to move into executive session.
10 minutes still, good. I move the city council recess to executive session for 10 minutes to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel matters of non-elected personnel pursuant to KSA 75-4319 B1 of the Kansas Open Meetings Act. The open meeting will resume in the city council chambers at 9:57 p.m. No formal action is anticipated following the session. Persons to be in attendance are the following: Spencer Lau, city attorney.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. See you. Hey, we've gone to midnight before, so. All right, welcome back, everyone. Let the record reflect that the governing body reconvened in open meeting at 9:57 p.m. No votes were taken or decisions made during the executive session. The discussion was limited to the subject stated, and with that, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-0. Have a great night, everyone.